Elon Musk is interviewing Donald Trump live right now on X, at least at 8 p.m. We're going to be doing a whole live reaction in today's episode with special guests Samuel Arms and Isaac Does Crypto. Right now, I got Isaac with me. Samuel Arms,
What's up, everybody?
momentarily, he was just on an X space with actually people from Trump's campaign. I believe it's actually the campaign manager. Unfortunately, we had to miss it as we were setting up for the live interview here. We're watching Ethereum hit $2,700. Bitcoin retraced a little bit at 59,000. And of course, guys, everybody is waiting on X here. You have Alex Jones live, Benny Johnson. Everybody is live tonight, waiting for the, of course, unprecedented. I would say, well, now it would be unprecedented. This is straight up going to probably break world records with viewership tonight. It might bug a lot of people out there, but I would imagine this is going to garner millions and millions of views and impressions out here tonight. We have no idea what they're going to be asking in terms of questioning. Of course, there's a lot of speculation around what the conversations will be. However, what we do know is earlier today, the European Union, did try to scare Elon Musk, it seems, by threatening him with lawsuits for conducting an interview because, yes, Europe definitely obviously advocates for free speech here. But let me scroll down to his page. You're going to see it right here. It's quite crazy. With great audience comes greater responsibility. DSA from Theory Brenton, who of course is taking Europe further here. As there is a risk of amplification of potentially harmful content in Europe in connection with events with major audiences around the world. I sent this letter to Elon Musk. Within this, he had threatened him with legal approaches. Of course, if you were to go through with the interview with Trump. To me, this is a very interesting question. I'm going to refrain from using certain words. I'm going to let the comment section kind of do what they want. Let me ask the comments here because I can't say things here. But should Europe be allowed to tell Elon Musk who and who he can't interview and what the interviewee can and can't say? Very questioned here. Very, very, very interested in hearing you guys' thoughts here. But Isaac, welcome up here, guys.
Thank you. Thank you.
Isaac is working actually with me here at Hit Network. He's been an editor. He started his own channel. He's been going viral for the first time. Absolutely crushing in the crypto content and the political scene as well. And of course, we have Samuel Arms here. Just now getting out of the shower, who needs to jump into the TikTok live as well so I can bring him on.
Yeah, invite me to the TikTok live.
Are you already in there?
I'm live. Yeah.
You got to join as a guest, remember?
So I got to join you. Hold up.
Yeah.
Oh, wait, can we do co?
No, you have to invite me. Silly goose. Hey, Josh is the editor. If you see any
you have to close it, and then I got it.
Yeah, I got it on.
Oh, you're right. I do got to close it, don't I?
And then I'm gonna make it go big screen. So this is we're moments away from this chat, so we're gonna be taking Q&A here with you guys today. That's gonna be the most important at first. This is less than 10 minutes away, guys. So make sure you guys are sharing the stream, leaving a like, leaving a comment, share this with somebody that needs to, of course, see this. This is one of the most important interviews of probably this election. It's going to determine not only polls, it could determine, future. There's a lot that can come out of this in terms of. Let me turn down the volume. There you go, guys. Audio is good. If someone incites world violence, then yes, it makes sense to try and block that content. We got the no profile picture clan coming out here, guys. But I don't think Elon Musk has ever incited anything other than advocate for free speech, which there you go. So of course everybody is waiting here. Let me see if there's anything that's popped up. Let me know if you guys see anything too that I need to pull up here in the chat. You're more than welcome to share your screen.
I'll share.
EU censorship demand here. Trump 47. Hope Trump and Musk work together. Hi Vintage. What's up, guys? Welcome in. Next time, defend yourself and stop using our military clout. No idea what that comment means. Help me understand how they have any grounds to dictate what Elon can and cannot do with this company. Yeah, in fact, actually, the chief of police, I believe I was out of London, said if even Americans were to, and this isn't a video, but if Americans were to retweet anything going on really with the riots, it was I'm going to keep it very vague. You guys need to go read it on Twitter or on Google if you want the exact words, because I don't want to say those words. But ultimately, they would go after Americans for expressing their First Amendment right, which is crazy. Crazy.
Which, how would they even go about doing that? Like,
they wouldn't. It was just the dumbest. It was the.
Well, I
dumbest
do
thing
wonder.
I've
I
ever heard of.
wonder actually if you're an American living in the UK, if they would try to nab you and then create some kind of crisis. Like that would be huge. Actually,
do you think we could possibly see the exact same thing that's going on with the UK here in the United States, though?
Did this just happen? I haven't seen this video yet. I want to be careful of it. It's the Krasenstein brothers.
Oh, this video has been played before. It's
yeah,
so
I know.
Old. They're just talking about how they'll get paid to engagement farm and stuff like that.
No way. Would they? No.
It could happen in the United States. What makes the U.S. unique is our First Amendment and our Second Amendment, and both of those make it legally really hard. And they are always going after it, but we've been pretty fortunate.
This is just a Twitter space.
It is. Oh, it's
it's on Donald Trump's. It's on Donald Trump's right here. I see it right now.
Twitter
just crashed.
Wait, is that why my live isn't working?
Yeah,
because it won't let me go live.
It's crashing right now. X is crashing, chat. Tap in, guys. Here we go.
That is hilarious.
Guys, make sure you retweet, like the live streams and everything. But yeah, the X is, if you can, come to YouTube. YouTube's definitely.
They literally wait. So just to be clear, Josh, are you trying to stream on X? Because it won't let me stream on X.
I am already live on X, yes.
Wow, it won't let me in.
Oh, it's because probably everybody's trying to do it. Is that what's happening?
Possible.
Let me know if you guys see me on X already right now. X on mobile is working for me in California. YX crashing, violated First Amendment, C Second Amendment. Everywhere I look at my city in Scotland is, can't say it. Okay, I got you guys. I got you. Do we know the interview is unscripted? Yeah, I mean, you're going to be hearing it come out of left field, I would imagine. But let me see. This is what I'm going to do. Watch. I'm a smart person. I'm a smart cookie. I'm a smart cookie.
I'm a smart cookie.
Your watch history is off.
Yeah, I don't want you guys seeing what I watch. You kidding me? I watch some crazy stuff here.
Sus.
Shook the foundations of America.
Oh, wait. We're going to live stream it on YouTube. That's hilarious.
Look how many scams there. Meet Kevin here. Is he in? Hold on. Let me see.
We always do. We always.
I don't want to have to listen to this guy's voice.
No, we're not. We're definitely not listening. Come on, guys. I'm better than that. You think I'm going to listen to that guy's voice serenade me?
Oh, look, we're back up.
We're back up. We're back up. We're back up. Here we go. I can't go to Donald Trump's.
Yeah, we're cooked.
No, we got this. We got this. We got this. We still got 6 minutes.
I'm not going to make it.
Let me know if it loads on your guys' page on your PC, so that way we could play.
Oh, his spaces. Geez, just the spaces post has almost 1 million views.
Yeah, it's not working over here either.
That's ridiculous. Details not available. Are they even going to be able to do this?
Well, Benny and them are watching right now. There's a few people that are watching it live, so yes, 100% they will be able to.
Okay, now I finally got live on X. Okay, it took me forever, but I'm doing it.
Just let the servers are going to be serving. You know how this is. This happens every time. I'm going to his exact page profile. It's because it's literally 88.3 million people probably trying to click on this right now.
Well, Elon Musk, look at Elon Musk. Elon Musk has 192 million, I think.
Okay. Didn't realize it was a seismic competition, bro.
No, but seriously, 192 and 88 million. That's insane. Are they muted? No, I don't think
trash. No, we're not muted at all. Everybody should be able to hear me. Chat, give me a 1 in chat if you can hear all the audio. Let me switch it on the guest live here before I forget.
Olympia Marketing. You thought I was interviewing Musk? I should be. I should interview. I'd be so good at interviewing Elon Musk. I'd be like, do you have a single daughter?
Guys, YouTube, let us know. One's in chat. One's in chat if we're good. Chadwick gave me a 3.
One's in chat if you think I'm better looking than Josh. One's in chat. Wow, look at all the ones. Look at all the ones.
He takes steroids. Type 1 in chat if he takes steroids.
If I did take a steroid, it would be Tren, and I'm not ready for that yet.
That's the only answer that is acceptable in the steroid realm.
That's true. Look at all the ones, man. They love me. Thank you, Chad. I love you guys too.
Okay, this is insane. We can't even watch this. We might have to watch it through somebody else because Elon Musk and Trump are in the
Just not me, Kevin. Please, God, not me, Kevin.
5 minutes. I love how this is like the most hype thing in history.
It is. It's
Like they're like 5 minutes till the space.
like it's not
3
that
minutes till the
dude.
space.
It's like, dude, these are the two most popular people on the planet right now that are in the Twitter space. What do you think is gonna happen? Okay. Here we go. Hold up, it's loading. It's loading. I see it on my screen.
Do you guys remember last live stream Josh
Details
and I
not
did,
available.
and he had to buy me Wendy?
Also, you have to realize, guys, there is going to be probably foreign
maybe.
adversaries that are purposely
Hacking
trying
this.
to. Yeah, definitely.
Okay,
Let's
when
go
I
here.
click
Are you on a
it,
VPN?
No, I'm not on a VPN.
I might have just crashed my Twitter by literally just
Just
clicking
try it.
Trump's
Try it. Let me see.
profile.
Let me see what you guys got. Live interview. These are all scams. It's so funny.
Bro's glazing Trump and Elon bet. Bro, it's true, Ghostface.
How are we
Thank
glazing
you.
them? It's just
It's literally just a fact.
You're-
It's literally
just-
just a fact.
you're just in a stage of cognitive dissonance, and you can't get out of it.
I
That's
know.
what's happening. It's you just
Tragic.
you can't fathom the truth. It's kind of crazy.
I'm in love with.
Let me see if I can hear it out of here.
Gary.
It's everything you
Ugh, ads, dude.
My
That's
Twitter
not
might
people.
be broken, yeah, because I
Gary, I'm in love with you. I'm in love with you, dude.
Gary?
Details not available.
Oh, I'm in love with Josh. Gary.
Okay, so
Do you
yeah,
even know who
everybody's
I
having
am?
trouble. It's not just me. Everybody's having trouble. So
This is
they're gonna.
hilarious.
We're good. That means they're gonna just have.
I
server
love
issues
how
for the next 20 minutes.
This is gonna break the internet. It is already. I love how Elon stress tested this, and obviously not good enough because it's not working.
Well, you got to again. I would say what Iran hacked Donald Trump earlier this week was announced via the FBI, I believe.
Oh yeah, that's believable. It was
so
probably the
you
FBI
have-
that hacked him.
Hey, yo, chill. Only factual information here.
Remember,
Seconds.
not trying to get
I thought
banned.
there was gonna be a meme. I thought it was gonna be a meme with George W.
I know. I just even better. Who throws a baseball like this?
Stop. My mic just dropped. Literally, that made my mic drop.
So what's the big news? Well, we have no news right now, guys. The space is X is literally crashing right now. So hey, you get to tune with us, guys. We are gonna wait for it. You will hear, guys. Everybody's having audio issues. You can't go anywhere and find it right now. They are definitely dealing with server issues. This isn't a there's millions of people trying to access this website right now. We defend the Brits and share technology with them, and the citizens of the UK should be up in arms. They have no arms. They have batons. Tesla's on YouTube playing it. Well, even me. Let me see. Tesla's. Let me see. This guy might have been a crack. This guy might be crazy. He might be with the fire right here.
It's kind of so. I'm seeing if I can pull it up on Twitter.
Oh, Tesla
Spaces,
US
too.
is what he meant. No. These are for sure. Oh, no. Yeah. So maybe these are starting, chat. They might be starting. There's a lot of people waiting. Everybody's waiting. It's
Oh,
like,
I can start listening on my phone. Oh, nope, the space is not available.
yeah. Okay. Yeah. Before Boomer Samuel Arms over here tries to.
It might be we have to be on our phone.
No, it's definitely the servers. It's definitely guys. This isn't hard technology.
It is
God.
in front of our faces. It's not working.
It's like
Maybe
it's
it'll
just
work on our phone.
Twitter.
No.
X's servers right now are like the open borders. Okay.
So true. What
Gotta
a good
fix 'em.
comparison.
There you go. I was just gonna say that LOL Elon had 2 stress tests. Yeah, I mean nothing could prepare you for this. I mean, what were they stress testing? Like 10 million views too? Like honestly,
No, he only had 300,000 actually.
300,000? Yeah, there was
Yeah.
a million people already trying. That's crazy.
Holy cow!
If the audio stops on TikTok,
2.7.
hit the back button.
Hey, I think we're gonna have to do it on YouTube. People
God,
are saying
no.
it's on YouTube.
No, the Twitter Spaces, guys. Okay.
Everybody's
Look,
watching.
Samuel
it.
Arms.
There's got to be at least one
Come here.
person.
Look, guys,
One
look
back
at the
door.
screen,
You want
look
me
at
to
the
come over? You want me to come over?
Look at the
I'll come
screen.
to
in front of
Atlanta
you,
right
okay?
now. I'll
Here's
come to Atlanta
CNN.
right
CNN
now.
always has. No, wait, no, that's so funny. They're not even. Meet Kevin. He's just looking at tables now. Every single other one is.
I don't even know who this Meet Kevin guy is, but he's gonna be like, I heard there's some random stream where I was getting cooked.
He's pretty good. He's a political commentator. He does a little bit of everything. It's playing on YouTube. Guys, I'm
Definitely
going to
not.
I'm going to start handing out. I'm going to have Isaac here start handing out swirlies. If you guys don't,
Left
don't-
and right, both hands, both legs. Can't
Yeah,
stop it.
Oh yeah. I'm blocked from it. Yeah, no, there's not a single unless guys I'm missing something. Give me something here. They all say starting soon, which means they're all waiting on the Twitter space. So give it 5 minutes. It's okay. It's okay. We're gonna be all right. All right.
Okay,
We're
so
gonna be all right.
yours looks cloudy too. Mine's also cloudy.
Yeah, it's because it's the. Yeah, again, it's broken here. Is it just me or is everyone able to get on?
Everyone able to get on but us.
No one's able to get. Guys, I love how the world panics. Like
This is the end of the
70-year-olds
world.
using
Because we're
an iPhone
missing,
for the
we're
first time.
missing golden moments. There's
But-
viral moments happening right now that
How do
we're
I
going
take
to
a
be late
photo?
to.
They have
How
to
do
know
I
that it's
take a
not working,
photo?
right?
Yes, guys. Yes,
I just want to see Elon and Trump talk. Okay.
It's my worst night.
guys, is it working? No, I'm just- guys, it's okay. We will survive. Until then, we
No,
will
we
look
won't.
at Ethereum's
It's so
chart here.
over.
We got a bit
Oh,
of a cup on the handle here that
right.
ended up breaking out $2,700. Yeah, I mean that's boring. No one cares about Ethereum right now.
Pull up the Ondo chart. We are currently about to set a short.
Someone goes, I'm
At
watching right now.
25
He said, buy Bitcoin.
My Twitter feed is Spaces have completely crashed for me. Can anyone hear Trump? Has it already crashed? Where is everybody? This is so funny.
I can only refresh it too. I can't even use Twitter. Just refresh. It almost gets there. What do we got here? Can we talk RFK Jr.? You can.
No, he sucks. RFK is useless. Vote for Donald Trump if you have any faith in humanity.
That's
Vote
why do you,
Harris.
you don't
if
like
you
RFK at all? I like
bullies.
a lot of his policies. He's got pretty good
I
pharmaceutical
like.
policies
That's
on,
all
you
I
know,
like. I
Insurance
like.
companies. He's got pretty good viewpoints on Bitcoin and crypto entirely. He's got
Yeah,
pretty
it's
good
fine.
viewpoints on
It's
institutional interest in real estate. He's got
It's
pretty
cool.
good.
He's fine.
Now,
He's
if you want to say it's not, he's just not got a chance, that would be.
Well,
nice.
he's also,
Hey,
by
but
the way, for open borders, and he's
you know,
also for
you know what'd be crazy?
reparations.
You know, what'd be crazy.
What?
What if just like 2016 when Hillary had a 95% chance at winning, he only had like an 8, like Trump Hillary situation, and RFK just comes out and wins this thing.
What if it's actually Jeb Bush, and Jeb Bush comes out of nowhere?
What if
Elon for president.
Oh, it's
Look.
Jeb Bush. It's been
no,
Jeb.
we gotta talk about the truth and the reality, which is Harris has a pretty big chance of winning this thing.
Sadly.
And all these
What is that first Twitter tweet X comment?
The water. Oh my god,
Oh my
Lori
god.
Grananito.
I'm like,
Holy,
what
I
does
can't
that
say
mean?
that.
This will not. And who's fighting who? And what is there? What are the flags all for?
Oh,
Which side
my
is she
lordy,
on?
Lord.
She's on every side. She's also
oh my lordy,
confused.
Lord. Oh my lordy, Lord.
Oh,
That is intense. That is intense,
Nothing-
chat here.
Nothing
You don't
yet
say.
either,
Wow,
though.
5%. Yeah, Trump had like a 8% chance according to some polls, or a 5% chance according to some polls during the elections of 2016. Definitely changed a little bit.
Sam, come on, fight me, Zilla. I'll fight you. Friendly fights.
I
We'll
dare
hug
you
it
to
out.
fight him.
We'll hug it out.
So let's talk about some things today. What do we got? What's happening recently? Well,
Well, I was looking at the. So you want me to kind of rehash what we went over?
chat,
in the Twitter
let's
Spaces?
bring in questions. Let's bring in questions right now from Q&A. Chat, if you guys got questions you guys want us to wait on while we're waiting for, of course, the servers to come online for this Trump Elon Musk interview, make sure you guys, of course, hit that like button, repost the Twitter space if you can somehow see it on X. I doubt you can. But then more importantly, let
How
us
did
know
Lucas
down below.
get in the Twitter Spaces? How did
What do
that
you
man
mean?
get in there? It says
Did he
see the
actually?
screenshot.
Oh, it says he's a listener.
How'd that man
Um,
get in there?
Look, bro's got majority weight. You know what I'm saying? Takes up more room than most of us. No, I'm just kidding. Are
We
you
love
better
Lucas.
off now than you were? Oh, that's an interesting one. I love how I could I'm just refreshing this. Dr. 246,000 people listening to it right now.
But not us.
Not us. Not I. Not I here, chap. Go on YouTube and see if you can find it, Isaac. Let me see if you guys can see it.
Okay.
Just keep refreshing. Okay, my page is okay, hold up. We're on to something.
No, not anything.
Space is not available. Space is not available. Listen live. Here we go. Hold up. Nothing's happening.
Even Mario's space.
Like
is-
Mario's just rugged right now. There's nothing even happening in there. So it's not working. Yeah. Oh, what's this one?
RYBS1.
That's
Why
crazy.
can't we listen to the interview on X? The X servers are currently down.
What's Trump gonna say? He's gonna be like that white woman. I saw that. I saw that.
What do you think? Okay, here we go. We got some stuff. Let's just cover what's going. Guys, we got probably 5-10 minutes. They're probably fixing the servers. We'll see what happens. What do you guys think of well, this is from 2020. I can't play that. This is recirculated, dude. This is what bugs me. There's so much propaganda out there. Like this is from 2020 of Kamala speaking.
I think that's still
on-
relevant.
Yeah, but I mean, also like she's changed
Make
all
her
of her
change her
policy
opinion.
perspectives. So she
Make her
already
change
has like 100
On
times.
what? On
Well,
what?
For example, taxing tips for workers. She passed that in
Well,
legislation
she
in
passed the
2022.
bill, and now she's stating yes, but see, that's the big difference. Is she still passed the legislation? So as much as that's
And now
called
she's
changing an opinion, like
saying that no, now she's
saying not to tax tips after she's helped pass the bill that literally helps tax tips.
Yes. Right. So yeah, now they could do anything here. Services not available. I guarantee you they're having like how many countries do you think are trying to hack servers right now?
At least
most of
one.
them.
These are great.
Before our
They
most.
need to turn the servers off, then on back again. That's right.
Xander the Great in the YouTube chat. Kamala the twerking president.
Yo, have you seen the AI of Kamala looking bad?
Yeah, I have. I tap.
360 guys. Make sure if you guys are coming in, hitting that like button, guys. We should be getting Elon Musk and Trump's interview shortly. We'll make sure we edit the live stream on YouTube to go to straight where the actual interview starts here. Everybody's having audio issues. It's not just us, guys. So if you're waiting for the interview with Elon Musk, every single Twitter space is down right now. They're probably having a server overload. I mean, I would imagine there's a few million people trying to tune into these spaces. That is probably the most. They're breaking records right now. Breaking records.
21
Elon
million.
Musk stress testing server right now. This is fun. Oh, I can't even play the stress testing.
Oh my god.
You can't play anything. Yeah,
Yeah,
nothing's loading right now.
21
Oh,
minutes.
here we go.
of
What do we get
loading.
here? What do we get here?
Space is not available. Yeah. Right.
Let's go back here.
Click on Benny Johnson or Alex Jones.
Are they Yeah, they're doing the same thing as us. They're just going through Trump's he hasn't posted since his mug shots here. I can't even play his live
No,
broadcast.
he posted 3 today. He did
What?
3 tweets today, all campaign talking points.
Oh, yeah, I think more than that now, right? He's done. Is it just 3 or was it more? Yeah, that was more than that. One, like 6, 7. Yeah, so 1. So enjoy. Then he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Let's watch
7
some of
today.
these. I haven't really watched any of them. I want to watch one.
Let's do a
Short one.
well, I want to
Yeah,
do the first. Should we do the first one? Have you seen the first one? This one's
Yeah,
pretty
do
good.
it.
This is
Let's
Harris's.
do it.
I am Kamala
Let me turn it down.
Harris. My pronouns are she and her.
You're considered the most liberal United States senator. Well, actually, the nonpartisan
The YouTube
GovTrack
and
has
Twitter?
rated you as the
Discover
most
Crypto?
liberal senator.
On YouTube.
Do you have any plans to visit the border?
We are going to the border. We've been to the border.
You have
So what I want to talk about here first, really quick, before we play this whole clip, Sam, just for the crowd listening into, I do want to approach everything tonight as nonpartisan as possible. I mean, that's obviously going to be hard. But what this video is in reference to, and they do it on both sides of the party, is like taking clips and things from, previous. It's very obvious that the media paints narratives, and that's what Trump's trying to show here, is that Kamala has said things in the past that they, kind of say they don't say in the present.
been to the border.
And I haven't been to Europe. I am in favor of
I
saying
haven't
that we're
been
not
to
going to
Europe.
treat people who are undocumented cross borders criminals. That's correct. That is correct.
A lot of the signs at the rally you just
Guys,
held,
the audio's
people
down right
standing
now. You
there
guys gotta
saying
wait.
abolish ICE.
Yeah.
Is that a position that you agree with?
We need to probably think about starting from scratch.
So you support giving
Oh my goodness.
universal health care, Medicare for all to people who are in this country illegally?
I am opposed to any policy that would deny in our country any human being public health,
That's wild.
period. are you for defunding the police?
How are you defining defund the police?
It's actually wrong and backward to think that more police officers will create more safety.
We need to get rid of money bail.
Convicted, in prison, like the Boston Marathon bomber, on death row, people who are convicted of sexual assault. They
Oh,
should be able
Don
to vote.
Lemon.
I think we should have that conversation.
Interesting.
Either way, there's like another 10 of those posts. And
Oh, your
Kamala
Twitter
has-
cleared up. Check the spaces.
Let me
Yours is
go
clear
back.
now.
Yeah, I doubt it's gonna work. Yeah, it's still frozen. Yeah. Can we? Nope, that's me versus you.
Nice.
212,000 in here now. So there's people joining. That's a good thing. And we hit peak again. So froze
Man.
and froze. Yeah, guys, there's no audio yet, guys. Be patient. Be patient. It's coming. We just gotta wait for it. We gotta wait for it until this.
Literally, people I didn't know. This is like when Bitcoin's at 100K and friends you didn't even know were watching Bitcoin are
40
like,
million people have looked at
hey,
this post.
do you know how to get in? I'm having random people I haven't talked to in a while be like, can you watch the Trump interview? I'm like, I didn't even know you had a Twitter account.
Do you guys think, type 1 in chat, do you think they talk about Bitcoin tonight? Type 2 if you don't believe they do. So 1 if they do, 2 if they don't. Do you think they're going to talk about Bitcoin and
I
crypto
think
tonight?
they will. Well,
1 yes, 2 no.
At some point, yeah. Probably not the majority of the conversation.
it's definitely not the top interest, I'll tell you that. But they're both tech guys. Musk, I hope, talks about space.
I hope they talk about space. I would like them to focus more on policies. I really hope they don't bring political identity into it today. I think that's enough of conversation. I want them to, they're just going to. I just know. I'm just saying what I would like. He's gonna target like the most basic high school drama things first, because that's what the majority of the crowd and populace think about. But I would like them to focus in on congressional spending. I would like them to focus in on. I would like him to dive into the Inflation Reduction Act and like what he's actually going to do in terms of energy policies. But I like actual things that matter. They're gonna. Well, I don't know. Elon Musk. Supposedly it's not scripted to extent.
I don't want
hope
him
it's
to
not.
talk about congressional spending. I think congressional spending would be a waste of his time.
No
one cares about congressional
Again, that's what
spending.
I'm saying. It's like the policies that matter, they're not going to cover. They're going to cover.
I don't even think that matters. Congressional spending, I don't think matters, actually.
I think they're going to talk about UK and Europe right now with the I would
freedom of
imagine.
speech.
Yeah. What else just came out today as well? I think a few hours ago. Oh, the whistleblowers with
I didn't see that.
There
What
was
happened?
the whistleblowers for Homeland Security. 3 whistleblowers
Yeah,
came
yeah.
out.
What?
And so Biden refused to. This is facts. YouTube. I'm showing you the source. Okay. Biden denied executive Trump DNA executive order that would allow for any border crossings to come through. They had to they had to take a DNA swab. So that way they get tested and see if they're actually meeting family members that live within the United States that are actual members of, or actual citizens. Now there's probably a lot more to that bill and proposal. I don't remember, everything that went involved with it. This was denied in, of course, May of 2021. And the whistleblowers came forth and have been announcing that this very policy could have saved like the lives of Americans, and it's directly connected through violent crimes and associations to criminals that are coming across that are on the no-fly zone or no-fly list. Domestic or not even domestic terrorism, but just terrorism in general. And a lot of these individuals get put into the detention centers. The reason why this is all recirculating again is because Kamala Harris, there's a video of her from 4 years ago talking about her closing down detention centers on day 1, which is something that, of course, Kamala and Biden campaigned on in 2020, was reducing the privatization of these detention zones because they were, and I quote, inhumane. It turns out they did nothing essentially to really stop that. They actually created more loopholes for the border wall. You had the Darien Gap explode with NGOs, and the millions of border crossing coincide with, of course, the overflow of detention centers, which create inhumane, issues within too many people within a small environment, health issues, not enough medical, and all those type of things. And so the whistleblowers essentially came out today. And this wasn't necessarily just today. I forget. Let me see. I can go to who it is that dropped the investigative. This is who it is. Catherine Herridge. She dropped this today, or on August 11th, so yesterday. Sorry about that. But leaked government memo confirms whistleblowers were targeted by border agency after exposing federal DNA collection law was not followed for immigration violations. Homeland Security whistleblowers claim American deaths were preventable. So that's all starting to roll out today. Kind of insane stuff. Insane stuff happening down there.
Holy moly.
Yeah, guys, do not go on YouTube. All of those are scams, guys. Do not go on YouTube. Be very, very careful on YouTube. They're going to have a lot of AI stuff that you might fall for, and you might end up getting your entire bank account drained from some dude that does not exist. Trump space still broken. Bill Ackman goes, please let Elon know we can't join. Guys, I'm sure they're very well aware they're having audio issues. I'm in on Twitter.
Just server issues.
Let me see I am connected on X, guys. Let me know what they're talking about. Give us some deets if you're actually in. It will be Trump rambling. I don't know why people go with the rambling stuff. Have you ever, Eli? Have you actually been to or listened to a press conference? Like
check Alex Jones or Benny Johnson. Maybe we just need to cycle through some of the other people and see if anyone is in.
Let me see. I can't even play Alex Jones. It's literally all broken. So let me go to Benny Johnson on YouTube. He's probably cross-platform. Whoa, that was a bad typo.
I'm Donald J. Trump, and I approve this message.
I'm Donald J. Trump. This is the first Trump ad I've gone on YouTube. That's wild. I usually don't get those. No, he's still not in either.
What's he saying? I want to hear him.
You don't have to pay the extra fees to transit.
Oh, this is me, Kevin. No, go to Benny Johnson. Why are we on Meet Kevin again? What happened?
This is the third time. We don't
like he's live. Oh, he is live.
Live. And so our team is efforting and working like animals right now to try and get that back working. Sadly, the entire internet seems to be locked out of this space. So I will not.
Does that help your boomer emotions, Sam? Everybody's locked out, chat.
If you say you're in,
someone's got to be in there.
If you say you're in this space, you're lying.
Benny Johnson, please. That's what's up. Benny Johnson, please, somebody. Someone's got to be in there. Oh, Lucas, shout out. I know. I was like, how is that?
Kelly says that
guys, I love the internet. I love the internet. Everybody posting. Space isn't working for anybody.
Oh, wait. Kelly said, yeah, it's just hold music.
Space isn't
but Kelly isn't
working for Elon and Trump. Is it just me or anyone else? I have to post it. I have to troll, dude. This is my post for you, Samuel Arms. Space isn't working for Elon and Trump. Is it just me or anyone else? Guys, please go comment on my post here. Let me know, guys. Let me know.
This is from Elon. Hey, Elon, 48 seconds ago. There appears to be a massive DDoS attack on X, working on shutting it down. Worst case, we will proceed with a smaller number of live listeners and post the conversation later.
Oh, well, we better get in there quick.
So did we predict it? Is it Iran? Is it the DOJ? Who is it?
It's definitely us.
Hey, guys, do you not know? Chill.
Who, me? Well, what I say? Oh, by us, I meant by us.
I just got my channel back, Sam. I just got it back. And nightmare. When is the interview starting? Hopefully any moment, guys. We're all waiting on the servers to hopefully get back up. There's a massive DDoS attack going out against X right now, which just makes sense, especially as Europe threatened Elon Musk with legal attention. Very interesting. Very interesting to see this roll out. Chat, who do you think it was? Let me know.
Josh, remember how we said, let's hope this is only an hour? Well, it's going to be an hour plus wait time on top of whatever.
Listen,
don't cut out.
Listen, we'll cut it out. We'll cut it out.
Yeah.
Isaac's real though. That's true.
Man, someone's saying the wait and hold music is pretty sick though.
Well, you know what else is pretty sick?
Hold music.
Hold on, guys. Make sure you guys go to my X right now. Let me know. Space isn't working for Elon and Trump. I need to know. Is it just me or is it anybody else? Okay. Is it just me or is it anybody else? Hold up. Can we check the charts? Yes, let's do it. Let's do it. Ethereum right now, guys, pulling back here, $2,700. We'll do a little bit of a market update. I can give you guys the Bitcoin liquidations right now. Right now, I'm anticipating a bit of a pullback here on the weekly time frame. When you guys are, just looking at the overall charts and the movement of liquidity in the market, there is on the daily a balance that's taking place. It is a little bit more bearish and bullish than anything, but the 7-day right now is more bearish and bullish. So I'm expecting some bouncing between 57,500 and where we're at right now with this price action. I would like us to consolidate at this range. This would be beautiful. And I would like more liquidity to start opening up above us here towards that 30-day zone, which right now is way more bullish than bearish. You can see that even just jumping up to $68,500 is about $8.5 billion in potential liquidations versus the 90 million, only 90 million in shorts here. So markets are definitely more bearish than bullish. However, right now I've been just doing swing trades. The volatility I'm taking advantage of. This morning, we took advantage of a $200 Ondo short, as well as an Ethereum short that played out to be roughly $300. It was 500 at one point, but I didn't end up taking the profits at the most amount of gain there. So right now, it's just going to be a little bit volatile. I could expect Ethereum to break back down to maybe 2635. What I would pay attention to before anything else is going to be the liquidation heat map here, which, of course, on the 24-hour is bullish. But let's look at the 12-hour here. Well, no, Bitcoin, it's changed. It's changed. Earlier this morning, it was a little bit more bullish or bearish than bullish. Going to Ethereum is a little bit more bearish than bullish, I'm sure, on the 24 hours still. So, yeah, still a little bit more bearish than bullish on the 24-hour for Ethereum. I would like to see it maybe come back down to 2640 right here, 2646, and just kind of grab this. And that's all we're watching for right now. You can see we grabbed it earlier today. So that is your market update right now. I don't expect anything too much right now. You have 2 days left until the biggest CPI report in modern day history. No, I'm just kidding. We don't need the clickbait, but it is a really big CPI report. And that is going to obviously determine whether or not the Feds are going to raise or cut, or sorry, not raise, but cut interest rates by 25 basis points or 50 basis points. I am under the assumption that we are going to get the 50 or the 25 basis points, not 50. And of course, there is a small percentage of analysts out there that believe the Feds may not pivot at all in September. Interesting take there. So there you go. There's your bit of an update here. Really quick, if you guys are listening in and appreciate us being live at 8:30 p.m. tonight, make sure you guys hit that like button, comment, of course, repost, share with a friend, do the whole 9, shake your phone like it's magic. I heard that does, wonders for us getting on the For You page. But ultimately, guys, we will be here with you guys tonight, breaking down what's happening with this Elon Musk and this Donald Trump interview. Tomorrow, me and Samuel Arms should be live again doing political debates. Of course, we are voting for Trump, so we're going to be having the description of Prove Me Wrong. Why are you voting for Kamala? And of course, having guests join us on TikTok. If that's something you'd like to see on YouTube, because it is quite entertaining, make sure you guys let us know in the comments. It might be something I add to a new channel called Beyond the Headlines, where, of course, guys, if you want to get involved with politics and you want to actually make a difference, not only do we have our Beyond the Headlines group here where you can come and discuss these very topics with us. Samuel Arms here is somebody who's actually been to the Trump campaign fundraisers. He's helped and advocated for, huge change in crypto legislation. He's behind a lot of the anti-CBDC bills that exist in America, defending your freedom, your rights to self-custody. And of course, has actually gotten me, unfortunately, into politics, which is quite annoying and aggravating. But he sucked me into this atmosphere as soon as I realized how corrupted the overall entire industry was, because it's not about voting on a president. It's about voting on the policy in the cabinet underneath it. And of course, Kamala is against TikTok and against crypto in almost every single way, shape, or form. And that is something that I take to heart, as obviously not only are there over 3 to 5 million Americans with full-time businesses on TikTok, but as well as I really want strong, positive crypto legislation in the United States. So come join Beyond the Headlines. And of course, we do have the Coin W chat here. Let me scroll down here where you could see that I post all of our updates with our positions. We made over $500 in trades today alone. Let me go ahead and add some of these beautiful people to the group chat here. And you can find that link simply by, guys, it is a free group with live trading. If you guys want to learn how to trade and learn about crypto in general for free, this is 100% free. And I have 5 of the greatest technical analysts on CoinW, constantly teaching you guys how to buy, sell, trade on spots, pro swing trades, scalp trades, everything. as well as Samuel Arms and his updates. He needs to join though because he just joined today, so he'll be joining me in that amazing.
Oh,
chat.
I tried to join that; it wouldn't let me join.
Again, he is.
I remember you said something about it.
Samuel Boomer coming to play. I'm just kidding.
No, I will show you right now. Actually,
I like this new one. It's almost good, Pete. Pete, I want you to re-advise your nickname for me. He calls me Joshua Backshots, which it's just
who says that?
It's hold on. It's
wait,
whoa. It's Pete
whoa.
Jr. It's pretty good. He's tried for a while. He's been trying to make it a thing.
Josh
but
Backshots, like you're
unfortunately, Sam receives
the way
for me,
around.
so it doesn't work. So we have to come with like another one. I don't know. We got to figure out a little bit better of one, but I do like it. You're on to something, Pete. Here,
yes. Samuel
Backshots.
Arms updates.
I do like it.
Topic is closed.
It's pretty good.
I can't get in. I can't.
Okay, let's rate it, guys. Let's rate it on a scale 1 out of 10. How good of a burn is Joshua Backshots? I want to know. Give Pete his. I want to know.
If that's a burn. I don't know if that's a burn or not.
Is it a good? Because I feel like he could do so much better. Like I just feel like there's
something funnier.
Like,
I don't know. It's to me,
it's
not that funny, but it's also not that bad of a burn, which maybe is why it's not that funny.
You know, I don't know, man. I don't know. We're getting there. Aiden Ross is on kick. Let's try it again. Here we go. Let me get. Nope, it said Pete.
Also try Elon space.
They're getting
try
DDoS
Elon
here.
space too.
Are they both in a space right now?
They're both.
Homie, that's the same space though.
I know, but they're still hosting the same space.
Oh. Wait, can I just get rid of Pete and that lets me in?
You send me a screenshot.
Tell him to record it and join this. Dude, if he's in it, tell him to join this call right now.
It's just hold music, but I got it.
Oh, gotcha. Gotcha. 10 for accuracy. Okay, Don likes it. Two first names is lame.
Oh, Joshua Jake. Yeah,
he got me.
So.
He got me. I love the one that
didn't
never
say
trust
lame.
a man. Never trust a man with two first names. Never trust a man.
Who said
No,
that?
that's what they say. That's what they say. Mm-hmm.
Where's Drew? I don't even know who Drew is.
Shall we bother waiting for this? I am going to give it some time here tonight because yes, this is not something I want to miss. Let me see. Let's go to wait, not Discover Crypto. I got to pull up more.
We're shilling ourselves again.
Make sure you subscribe to Discover Crypto here. Yeah, guys, if you guys are tuned in on X here, we got 700 people waiting for this. Again, if you guys appreciate us, hosting this tonight, again, they were supposed to be live at 8 p.m. It is now 8:30. They're going through DDoS attacks right now.
This is just like when we live streamed the Trump RNC speech and we were here till midnight.
Oh, dude, that was just awful, though, to be fair. There was so many bad speakers. Like, not going to lie, the DNC's got some crazy lineups right now. Dude, they got both the Obamas. They got Jill Biden.
No, share that. I want to see the DNC speaking list. That's this week.
Yeah, it's confirmed. So I can give you the confirmed ones. It's Bill Clinton, which is why they've been scraping his Wikipedia profile.
Wow, that man can even speak.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? I wish certain individuals just knew who their party members actually were.
Yeah, for real.
Father, grandfather, 42nd president. What is this up here? What is this up here?
I'd rather not find out.
He's such a man of the people. Such a man of the people. Such a man. We'll be cautious with it.
We're gonna
revise.
Cool dude to hang out with. Unless
listen live. Hold up. Connecting. I joined.
Ciao, we're in.
I'm in, ladies and gentlemen. I'm in it. We got Donald Trump with the regular.
Yo, wait. I want to hear the beat.
It's the regular X space. Joshua Jake is in.
This is sick.
Talk about crypto. Leave politics alone. Guys, I love you. I respect you, Crypto Tim. But the reality of the situation is this. If you're not paying attention to politics, we won't be able to even speak about TikTok or crypto on TikTok or even have nearly as much entrepreneurship and development in the crypto sector in the United States if certain cabinet members are elected and certain politicians are propped up.
And
that is just the reality of the situation.
I'm into this. I'm in the space too.
Crypto is political. That's what it is. Its entire fundamental belief in the structure around crypto is deregulating the government. And so if you want to advocate for more regulation, I completely respect you. If that's your reasoning, you want more regulations, you don't want self-custody, you want the government to, have digital identities and track your social security so that way they know exactly how much Bitcoin and crypto you hold. Again, I try to look at this from a very logical perspective, and it's not for me being, we're far, like I never wanted to be put in this position. What really made me want to go full politics was a few weeks ago with Samuel Arms. I went to Senator Blackburn's. And let me go ahead and can I reduce this really quick? There we go. We're going to turn down the music a little bit. What really got me into this, and I could show you guys this here. Let's go to my profile, scroll down a little ways. But was being able to speak with Vivek Ramaswamy. What he just said was very, very inspiring. And it was understanding that America doesn't need bravery right now. It needs courage, and it needs courage from people to, essentially just stand up and actually talk about their belief system without feeling like they're going to be discriminated against or be held prejudice against when advocating for, their own political beliefs. Because you have one party that is, all for that, supposedly, right? They say that they're all about everybody, human rights, women rights, civil rights, etc. Yet when other people want to speak up against, certain, party members or political members, they're immediately dropped on and shunned upon. I mean, it's immediately labeled as a MAGA. It's almost MAGA is literally used as a slur now, which is very alarming to me. But again, this isn't about, it's not about Donald. It's not about Kamala at all. It's about just their policies and what I believe in. And that is going to come down to, of course, a lot of the border issues first and foremost, but that's going to be congressional spending. It's going to be energy policies. It's because obviously creating more energy is going to bring down all of your inflation costs and have an immediate impact on your global supply chains, bringing down inflation actually globally due to lower energy costs for things like liquefied natural gas, which now Germany completely relies on after Russia, of course, invaded Ukraine and pipelines blew up. So that is my focus. And of course, it's also crypto legislation. Elizabeth Warren has the anti-crypto army. There's rumors that Kamala Harris wants to instate none other than Wally. I forget to pronounce his last name, but a huge advocate against digital assets and for aggressive regulation. She is the same person behind Gary Gensler and the Bitcoin mining taxes, 30 to 40% on Bitcoin mining taxes. Things that would decimate the crypto industry in the United States. And I want to protect that. I want to protect your guys' portfolios. I want alt seasons. I want growth. I don't care that we need regulation, right? There's not going to be a world where we don't have regulation. I just want to make sure that the regulation is, focused on the middle class and the people developing in the crypto sector and not trying to decimate it with government control because they want to remain as the status quo for the world's reserve currency. And don't actually understand what they're regulating. So it's a completely, they're two separate issues. But anyways, I'll digress there. I can't find the photo. I post way too much on X here. We have almost 1 million others in this Twitter space right now. If you guys are just now tuning in, double tap that screen, guys. We're live on X. My X might not work, so come to YouTube. Discover Crypto. Links in the bio, guys. Discover Crypto. Come over to our channel. We are watching and listening to, of course, Donald Trump be interviewed by Elon Musk live tonight, unscripted. There's almost 1 million people now in attendance here. And of course, this will be, I agree with this 100%. This is probably going to be the biggest interview in history. It is probably going to do billions in impressions, especially after mainstream media and everybody repaste their content and reactions to the overall interview tonight. And this is hopefully starting within the next 5-10 minutes here. It does look like they're getting listeners finally being able to access the industry or the space here. There's over 808,000 now listening. And it does look like the servers are starting to come back online. So here we go. It's starting. Music is done. Make sure you guys come to Discover Crypto on YouTube, guys. Hit that like button. Appreciate you guys for being here tonight. Thank you guys for, all the support for us coming live tonight. Make sure you guys follow Samuel Arms on X here, of course, as well. And Isaac Does Crypto. I'll make sure they put their links in the chat here for you guys again. You got in? Okay. I hear someone on Donald Trump's mic. It's probably his assistant or something. Or campaign. I don't know who it is yet, but it does sound like it is starting here. If you're on TikTok, double tap that screen, share the stream with a friend. Do not click on anything on YouTube, as Studio 5 is saying here, as they are draining crypto wallets and taking advantage of people. So make sure if you guys are coming over to YouTube, you just click on the link in my bio, go to Discover Crypto. We're watching it live there. Host is muted right now, but it does look like this is starting. Isaac, Sam, do you have anything to say before we get started here today? Anything on your minds?
I'm ready to listen. I'm ready.
Yeah,
to hear what they have to say.
Yeah, I'm excited to listen and see what he has to say. See if he brings up any crypto policies or just talks about Bitcoin at all.
Yeah. I thought we were done with this crap when BB left. No, Baby left. He actually has no economic impact or political impact whatsoever. Unlike him, I've had the opportunity to work with Sammy Arms here, who is the founder of Florida Blockchain Business Association, and again has done
Who's
massive
BB?
development. So, BB is well, there's two BBs. There's one BB that is well. I'm just gonna leave it at that. We don't need to talk further than that. People don't like the politics, but I just don't think they understand, and it's okay. And
what else do you guys want to talk about? You can only talk about price for so
well, no,
long.
they want to talk about crypto and price right now. They want, even though we did a full crypto live stream, even though
you can only do that for so long though. Like I get so bored of talking about price. Like it really is. It's like, hey, up, down.
I just
guys,
like you guys not care.
Buy and hold.
This matters. This literally affects the future of your economy. I don't know how people aren't like, and it only happens once every 4 years. So after there you go. After November, it's like definitely slows down a bit. And not to troll anybody in chat. I just, I disagree entirely that I believe crypto has everything to do politically. We're at $2,700 right now.
Oh,
at least 1.5 million in other spaces. Oh my goodness. Yeah, we got no sound yet. No sound just yet, guys. Crypto winter. Quite as possible. Crypto is a Russian roulette. Excuse the pun. It's a Russian roulette. I mean, a lot of people think that, but it's just because they're new to the markets. It's like any investment. It's like buying a home. Some people buy a home and that depreciates in value for 4 years before they ever see a value return on it. I mean, obviously 99% of crypto there's a lot of speculation, but Bitcoin at this point, I think it doesn't need to prove itself as a unit account anymore. I mean, Bitcoin is truly not only a unit of account, it's a proper store of value. It's utilized as a medium of exchange globally. And it's been 15 years and it's now worth 70, $60,000, $59,000, $60,000.
Okay, hey, Elon's here now. So Elon's gotten back in as a speaker.
I don't see him. Oh, he just joined. Okay. All right, here we go. Is this it? 920,000 people. Woo! Please give me an idea for ASI token. I would wait till ASI merges. Usually with every merger, you have pretty toxic FUD come out that suppresses price action and profits are taken. So I'd wait to get in until there is a bottoming of that price action. Samuel Arms is the one at the bottom. Yes, he's the buff guy.
Yo.
On trend.
On trend, I wish. Someday.
Nah, someone goes, crypto's a slaughterhouse. You can be the butcher or the meat. But you could just take that and set any market, the stock market, the insurance, pharmaceutical, any industry you're in. There's always we just live in a capitalistic society. So you're always going to have a buyer and you're always going to have a seller. We don't have a socialistic system. So it's, you could take from the people that, both buy and sell and tax that and give that to other people that aren't participating in that system. But, and that's what social programs are. But at the end of the day, there's always going to be a bartered system. And at the end of the day, there's going to be people that are smarter that take, advantage of that opportunity. There's people that don't. And the people that don't, there's people that you don't need to be smart. You can have a financial advisor. You can go through, your institutional investments like that, on average are taking 10, 12% a year. So you don't have to focus on that. There's nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with wanting to be a 9-to-5, teacher and, educate students for your life. That's what you love and that's your passion, just depends. But I would say every single industry has its
ups and downs.
Yeah, it's got its ups and downs.
And everybody on TikTok, if you're wondering what the live's about, we are live streaming here on YouTube on Discover Crypto. The Elon and Donald J. Trump X Space that's happening right now. Not scripted. It is live for people who are saying it's not.
Ooh, they pulled me up.
Oh, they did?
No, I'm just kidding.
I don't know. I'm only looking at your screen. I don't know why.
Just trying to figure out a way to hold this thing.
33.3 million views on this space.
Tis Rob, there is an interview on X. People are now being able to get into the space.
I think they're just double checking servers at this point.
Oh, 100%.
So does this count as a rally, or will they not count this as a rally?
I wouldn't count it as a rally because it's online.
No, I know, but still, like a million people listening in.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, Kamala wishes. Holy.
Exactly, Josh. People need to create value in society where they can the most difference. Yeah, I agree, Seth. Which is again why I want like I just really want proper regulation. That pisses people off, but is what it is.
So
value is
Elon
subjective.
said,
The clowns are correct, but so are you.
Elon said, we tested the system with 8 million concurrent listeners earlier today. So that's how you know.
All right, hello everyone.
Even more than that.
So,
Oh, here we go. Elon speaking.
Apologies for the late start.
Come join YouTube. Come join YouTube. Discover Crypto.
Distributed denial of service attack against our servers, and saturated all of our data lines. Like basically hundreds of gigabits of data were saturated. We think we've overcome most of that, and so it's now time to proceed. But as this massive attack illustrates, there's a lot of opposition to people just hearing what President Trump has to say, and but I'm honored to have this conversation. I want to emphasize it's a conversation, and it's really intended to just get a feel for what Donald Trump is just like in a conversation. It's hard to catch a vibe about someone if you just don't hear them talk in a normal way. And when there's an adversarial interview, like no one's themselves in an adversarial interview. So this is really aimed at kind of open-minded, independent voters who just trying to make up their mind. So you can understand like what is what is it just like to have a conversation. So honored to Donald, great to speak. We had a great conversation yesterday. As you mentioned yesterday, if we could just record that conversation and post it, it would have been excellent. And I hope we can have something like that today.
Well, I think we will. I'm pretty sure we will. And congratulations, because I see you broke every record in the book.
That's Max Volume chat.
So many millions of people, and it's an honor. We view that as an honor. And then you do want silencing of certain voices. Usually those are voices that have something to say that are constructive, oftentimes constructive. And so we have to consider it an honor. But congratulations on breaking every record in the book tonight. That's great.
Well, thank you. Maybe we could start off with, the assassination attempt, which was an incredible thing. And I have to say that, your actions after that assassination attempt were inspiring. You, instead of shying away from things, instead of ducking down, you were pumping your fist in the air and saying, fight, fight, fight. And I think that's, the president of the United States represents America, and I think that is America. That is strength under fire, and so that's a big part of the reason why I was excited to endorse you as the president of the United States for having another term here. Is that was just incredibly inspiring. But what was it like for you?
Not pleasant. I have to be honest. I said there was blood. I had more blood. I didn't know I had that much blood. The doctors later told me that the ear is a place that is a very bloody place if you're going to get hit. But in this case, it was probably the best alternative you could even think about, because it went at the right angle, and it was a hard hit. It was very, I guess you would say, surreal, but it wasn't surreal. I was telling somebody, you have instances like this, or like a lot less than this, where you feel it's a surreal situation. And I never felt that way. I knew immediately that it was a bullet. I knew immediately that it was at the ear.
Yeah. And
because it hit very hard, but hit the ear. And I also heard people shout, bullets, bullets, get down, because
Hey guys,
You know, I
mute
moved
move
down
your
pretty
mics
nicely,
further
but
from your mouth so that
we
way
had
people can
bullets
crank up
flying
their
right
audio
over my head
because the
after I
audio
went
is
down,
very
so I'm
low.
glad I went down. The bigger miracle was that I was looking in the exact direction of the shooter, and so it hit me at an angle that was
There you go. It's
far
good.
less destructive than any other angle. So that was the miracle. That was for those
Split
people that
second.
don't believe in God. I think we got to all start thinking about that. You have to, you know, I'm a believer now. I'm more of a believer, I think, and a lot of people have said that to me. A lot of great people have said that to me, actually. But it was amazing that I happened to be turned just at that perfect angle, and all because I put down a chart on immigration that showed that the numbers were so great. I love that chart even
I mean,
more
maybe
now
it's a
than I
sign.
ever.
Maybe that's a sign, you know.
It's an immigration sign.
You highlighted a serious issue, and
Yeah.
at that moment,
That's right.
the bullet missed your, you know, hit your ear, but you know, missed your head. I mean,
Well, the amazing thing is that the sign, I said, bring down that sign on immigration, and it was literally about an eighth of a second where it would be good, and after that it was going to be a disaster, no matter which way you were facing. But it just had that perfect angle, which was exactly at this shooter. Very sad situation. Such a sad situation. As you know, we lost somebody that was great, Corey, who a firefighter, a great gentleman, a great trumper. He was just a fantastic family and a fantastic man. And a friend of mine came up, Elon, and said, I'd like to give the family some kind of help. And I said, that's great. He said, do you mind? I said, I don't mind at all. And he wrote out a check for $1 million, gave it to the wife. And, you know, she said, this is really nice, but I'd rather have my husband back, which is a nice thing for somebody to say, to be honest. She's great. The family is great. And we raised a lot of money for them and for two other gentlemen are unbelievable people also. They were hit really badly. They thought they were not going to make it, and they did. The doctors in the Butler area, I tell you, they were incredible. They saved the two, and they were really hit tough, both of them, equally. And we thought, my first question was, because I heard bullets flying over me, and I said, how many people were killed? Because we had a massive crowd there, a tremendous thousands and thousands of people, and there was no land. I mean, it was all people. So I said, how many people have been killed? Because I knew there were other shots being fired. And they said, we don't know yet, but some people have been badly hurt. And I have to give the Secret Service sniper, they call him, or sharpshooter, but sniper, because he didn't know there was a problem. He's an extraordinary shot, obviously, and he didn't know there was a problem. And he was able to pick it all out within 5 seconds. And he used one bullet from very far away, I guess probably about 400 yards. The shooter was 130, but he was on the opposite side of the field and the podium. And he saw the smoke and the flame from the gun, immediately recognized it, and immediately took a shot. And it was one perfect shot from very far away. And if he didn't do that, Elon, he would have. I mean, if he would have, a lot more people could have been badly hurt and killed. So I have to take my hat off to him, because that's also a surreal. You know, he's been with them for 23 years, and he's never had anything like this. And all of a sudden, he has to act, and it's a very tough thing to act and to be shooting somebody. But he saw the gun, saw the smoke, saw the flame from the gun, very far away. Obviously has very good eyes. He's got very good vision, which I assume you have to have in that particular work. But he took aim very quickly, and they say it was approximately 5 seconds from long range, one bullet. If that didn't happen, because the shooter had a lot of bullets, he had a lot of cartridges up there with him. So
well,
could have been very.
I mean that's clearly you know, he was very competent in taking that shot to stop the attempted assassination. But I mean, there does seem to be I mean, some pretty significant failings elsewhere in the system. Like, there's just no way that, like, how on earth does a shooter get on a roof 130 yards away? That seems crazy. I think most people people are wondering how on earth could such a thing happen?
Well, I view it as two ways. There should have been nobody on the roof. There were people because there were so many tens of thousands of people there. There were people that were seeing him, and there was one woman with a red shirt and Trump all over it, and she's screaming. That guy's got a gun. You saw it probably. There's a guy up there with a gun.
I mean, it's like I'm just. I guess. I mean, for my part, and I think probably many members of the public are wondering how the heck are, basically people wondering by pointing out there's a guy on the roof with a gun.
Yeah.
And they're seeing it, but somehow it's not being addressed. That does seem crazy.
Well, they're going to learn from this. The communication between the local police, who sort of had an idea, and then ultimately a man lifted himself up to the roof, could barely do it because he was pulling himself up, and he saw the man with the gun. The man with the gun pointed the gun at him. He thought he was probably going to get shot, but he was like pulling himself up, and because of that, he couldn't get to his gun. And he fell down, actually very badly hurt his leg, his ankle. I hear very badly, but he fell down. And he did, from what I understand, he did say there's a guy up there with a gun. And the shooting started very quickly after that. I think it forced the shooter to go maybe quicker. He was supposed to be a very good shot.
Yeah.
My sons, Don and Eric, they can't believe what happened, but they said from 130 yards, a bad shot would hit that target almost every time. They said it's like in golf, sinking a 2-foot putt.
Yeah, it's not a tough shot.
It's not a long shot. The Secret Service person had the long shot. He had triple the distance actually. So it was a terrible thing. It's hard. I have to say this about the Secret Service. When I went down, and I went down based on, I think they're screaming, but other people also, because people saw this happen. You had so many people. One of the miracles was that nobody ran. I mean, if a gun goes off, the crowd control people showed us this. When guns go off, and it does happen in stadiums at a soccer match or some kind of a match, everybody flees. They call it a stampede, like cattle. But everybody, and a lot of people get killed with those stampedes.
I wish we could pause it and react as we go tonight. Guys, if you're on TikTok, come over to YouTube.
Matches or these games, and nobody left. You had a small group behind us in the grandstand, and that was full. And you look at it as it was taking place, and normally they'd be running. They didn't leave. They saw that I was hurt. They saw a lot of blood, and they saw that I went down. And it's almost like they wanted to be with me. Well, out front, you had thousands, tens of thousands of people. As far as the eye could see, you had people in Butler, as far as the eye could see, and a lot of press too. There were, many cameras on watching this. It's what makes it so different, because normally.
How much longer are you going to move that mic, Josh?
But you never have a picture of it. Here we have all these cameras.
Did not listen to Hudson.
So sort of.
My bad, Hudson.
But one of the interesting things was that you didn't have anybody flee. You didn't have anybody stampede.
Sure.
Nobody. And there were some people behind me. They stood up and they're looking like, I mean, I'll tell you, you want to have them in a foxhole with you. I want to meet some of those people because it's so different from what you heard. But so I was down. But the Secret Service guys, there were bullets flying right over my head. You could hear them go whizzing, and these guys came jumping on top of me, and a young lady, Kate. They moved so fast, and let me tell you, that took tremendous courage. Now, there was a lack of coordination. There was, obviously everybody understands that that building should have been covered. And
I mean,
that was
I
the
think
big
that,
thing.
looking at the aerial views, that building would be like the #1 spot for a sniper. I mean, it's like if you were to pick, like, what is the favorite, so if the goal is to assassinate, what's your favorite spot? That building. The roof of that building would be #1.
That would have been the spot.
It's like you
That's a weird thing to say.
Location. It's like
no,
#1.
that would have been the spot. You know what people think is when the local policeman, who, by the way, he really, he did what he was supposed to do. He couldn't hold on any longer. And then when he got his head
Look at this
peeking
tweet.
above, this guy standing there with a gun at his head. And when he fell down, again, hurt his ankle very badly, but he was making the calls. But what happened is the firing took place very soon. So what they did is that this guy ran to his site, which he had all planned out with the gun. He ran to the site and he started shooting fast. And maybe that's why he sort of missed. I mean, you know,
boomer.
He,
but
he
as you
got
said,
me,
he
but it
would have
could have
hit.
been. Could have been a much bigger problem.
But he totally would have hit if you hadn't turned your head. So, like, you know, there was it was a very near thing.
It was a miracle. If I hadn't turned my head,
yeah,
I would not be talking to you right now. As much as I like you,
exactly.
I would not.
Yeah,
I would not be talking.
I mean, be talking to me from another realm, perhaps.
Yeah, that's right. We'd be talking from a different place. But it was a very terrible experience. The Butler Hospital, they did such a great job.
Someone said Trump's slow.
The doctors were.
I haven't
so
heard him
good.
stutter
Everybody
once.
was so good. There was a mistake. If somebody knew, because people were hearing that, there was just a bad feeling that there was somebody was around. You know that story now. It's been. And if somebody could have,
He does have a wet mouth.
Oftentimes, like there'd be a lightning storm or something. Because I've done, I think 300. I think I did a lot more than that, but we did a lot. And oftentimes they'll say, "Sir, could you wait 10 minutes, please? Sir, could you wait 20 minutes? There's a storm overhead or lightning or something, right?" And that happens often. And this would have been a perfect time for that to have happened, but it didn't. It didn't get coordinated. That was the problem.
I love how this is Gary Cardone. Gary was like, within 60 seconds, Trump says very directly, "This was about God." Before now, I really believe.
A fire, and like what I find admirable there was that you can't fake bravery under such circumstances. The courage is instinctual, or it is not.
Is Gary not religious?
It's not a rehearsed action.
And no, the Fort Turning, the book.
A lot of people admire your courage.
I haven't read it, but I know what it is.
And so
thank you very much. I appreciate it. I didn't think of it. I just wanted to get up, and I wanted to stand up. I wanted to let people know. I felt I was good when they were on top of me, covering me, actually, very much covering me, and very bravely. But I wanted to get up. I said, I want to get up, and they wanted. They have everything there. They wanted stretcher. I didn't like the stretcher.
Which, by the way, guys, make sure you like and repost.
But I knew I wasn't hit anywhere else. They felt I was hit someplace else.
Yeah.
I'll stop annoying you.
Blood, and they were sure that I was hit someplace else. And they were saying, "Sir, you were hit in more than the ear." I said, "Nope, I was hit in the ear. I want to get up. Let me get up." And so I got up, and the crowd didn't know what to think. I mean, this was so many people, and you could see they were confused. They didn't know what to think. And I wanted to let them know I was okay. It was very important for me to let them know that. And they went wild. You've seen the after. They didn't go wild when I got up because they didn't know, was I alive? You really couldn't tell. When I stood up before the hand, before the fist in the air, they didn't know if I was alive. Nobody did. And when I put the fist up, they were just relieved and happy and thrilled, and the place went crazy. It was pretty amazing. It was a terrible thing, but it was
incredible.
Nice.
Okay, Hudson. You like this?
And I mean, speaking of the sort of slide that got you to turn that saved your life, really, was the illegal immigration slide. Maybe this maybe this is worth talking about that.
It was
that slide saved your life.
No, the illegal immigration saved my life. You're right, but it was I had to be at that exact angle.
I mean, that's a great one. saved by illegal immigration.
The incredible thing though, when you talk about the odds, you had to be exactly at that angle. But the incredible thing is that the chart, I used it less than 20% of the time. It was just a moment.
Yeah.
It's always on my left, never my right. And it's always at the end of the speech. So here we have it. It's on the right, not the left. It's at the beginning, not the end. And even the people that put it up, they were unprepared, and they did a great job. They got it up immediately, fortunately. But I looked to the right, and the bullet came whizzing by, hitting my ear. So it was amazing. But when you think of the odds of that, and that normally you wouldn't use it. Normally I wouldn't have the thing, and then would have been a very different story. It's very much, I say, an act of God. It's a miracle that it happened, and I'm honored by it. I'm honored by it.
Well, what were you about to say about illegal immigration before you were rudely interrupted?
Well, I was going to say how good the numbers were. By the way, we're going back to Butler, and we're going to go back in October. We're all set up, and the people are fantastic in Butler. It's a great area. Great. These are incredible people. Like the three that, in the case of Corey, killed, and the other two, the families I got to know them a little bit, and the families are great. But we're going back to Butler, and I think I'll probably start by saying, as I was saying, prior to being so horribly interrupted, but
so rudely interrupted by an assassination attempt.
But the chart.
Some people have no manners.
Elon, the chart was just a chart that, in my last week, we had the best illegal immigration numbers, meaning stopping. It was at the lowest. You've seen the chart. It's become quite a famous chart. But that was the lowest point ever recorded. It was a really, I was very proud of those numbers. And then you see what happened with these people, Kamala and Joe. You see what happened. They just let it go. I had remain in Mexico policies. I had all these different policies that was so good. Guys like Tom Holman and Brandon Judd from Border Patrol. These are all people that they've been on television. They said it's the best numbers we've ever had. We had so many different checks, catch and release in Mexico, not the United. We had catch and release in the United States. We had it in Mexico. We had so many things. We had things where many people come in there, they have contagious diseases. We had everything passed. If you have a contagious disease, I'm sorry, but we cannot allow you into the country. So we were setting literally records, and all I was doing is showing that, and I use it sometimes, and in this case, I'm glad I used it. I can tell you that, but there were fantastic numbers. But I'm going to sleep with that chart always. I'll be sleeping with that chart. That chart was very important for a lot of reasons.
Well, I mean, would it be accurate to say that you're supportive of legal immigration, but we also need to shut down illegal immigration, and especially unvetted illegal immigration, because and that's not the same as saying that everyone who's an illegal immigrant is bad. In fact, I think most people who are illegal immigrants are actually good, but you can't tell the difference unless there's a solid vetting of who comes across the border. Does that accurately represent your position?
I say it very simply. They have to come in legally. They have to be checked.
Yeah.
Because look, Kamala was the border czar. Now she's denying it. Everything that I do, she's saying she was strong on the border. We're going to be strong. Well, she doesn't have to say it. She could close it up right now. They could do things right now. It's horrible. No tax on tips, and all of a sudden she's making a speech and there will be no tax on tips. I said that months ago. And by the way, they had just the opposite. They had not only tax on tips, but they hired 88,000 IRS agents, and many of them were assigned to go get waitresses and caddies and all of this on tips. They have a policy. They had a policy that they were really going to go after you, and were really harassing people horribly. And then all of a sudden, for politics, she says, she comes out with what I said, which I think is terrible. And I think it's also hitting them very hard. These people are fake. Now they're also saying they did a good job on the border. We had the worst numbers in the history of the world, not of our country. There's never been a country in history that has had a catastrophe like this. We've had, I believe, and I think you believe this too, you hear 12 million, 13. I believe it's over 20 million people came into our country, many coming from jails, from prisons, from mental institutions, or a bigger version of that is insane asylums, and many are terrorists. And I'll tell you what, they're coming not just from South America, they're coming from Africa, they're coming from all over the world. They're coming from Asia, they're coming from the Middle East, they're coming from countries that are stupidly and horribly bombing Israel October 7th. They're coming from all over the world. And you look at, it's so sad, October 7th, because it should have never happened. It's so sad when you look at Ukraine. It should have never happened. we have a defective
Yeah.
government. These are defective people, and they're not people that should be running it. But where you see it the best is the border, because you have millions of people coming in a month, and then she gets up and she tries to pretend like she's going to do something. She had 3.5 years. And by the way, they have another 5 months that they can do something, but they won't do anything. It's all talk. She's incompetent and he's incompetent. And frankly, I think that she's more incompetent than he is. And that's saying something, because he's not too good.
Yeah. No, I think it is essential to have a secure border. I mean, you're really not a country unless you have a secure border, and
secure elections. Too.
You know, absolutely secure elections, and so it's just essential to have a real border, or we can't function as a country, and our service, our essential services are being overwhelmed in a lot of cities. But as we were talking about earlier, I think having a legal immigration process that is smooth and efficient and done well, and speaking as someone who is a legal immigrant, I think that like one way to think of it is, who do you want on your team? Who do you want on Team America? And I think we want to just say, okay, we want to let in people who are gonna, be great contributors to our society and to our economy, and and who do you want on the team? And it's not to say that, like in my opinion, actually, I'd say like probably most of the illegal immigrants actually are actually good, hardworking people. That's my opinion. But some are not, and you just have this sort of adverse selection process where, if somebody's if somebody's like has a career in theft or robbery, I don't understand what's taken them so long to get here, because we're such a target-rich environment. I mean, why aren't more people who have a career in bad things coming here sooner? Because it's a piece of cake to go rob houses in LA or New York compared to other parts of the world, and in a lot of places in America, if you try to stop the person who's robbing you, you'll be arrested. So
it's right. I mean, what's happening with crime, and our police are so good, but they're not allowed to do their job. But I have to tell you, Elon, I hate to say, because it's such a downer to say it. I hate to say it. I hate it. But you have a lot of people that just shouldn't be. I think it's a much bigger number than you think. They're allowing, again, they're allowing people from their jails. And if you were running one of these countries where they're coming from, you would have had all of them. As an example, Venezuela, their crime is down 72%. They're taking their drug dealers. They're taking, frankly, their prisoners. They're emptying out their prisons. They're taking their criminals, their murderers, their rapists, and they're delivering them into.
But that's what Castro did.
Yeah, well, he did on a much smaller scale. It was a much smaller scale. But this is a massive scale, because this is being done worldwide. But here's what's happening: crime all over the world is down. And wait till you see the numbers that we have. This is migrant crime. This is crime that's going to be. And I saw it today in New York, where somebody was knifed with raped the girlfriend of a man that stood there watching in New York in one of the shelters, and started pulling out the knives, and bad things happened today. But this is happening every day. These are rough people. These are people that are in jail for murder and all sorts of things. And they're releasing them into our country. And they're telling them, if you come back, we're going to kill you. We're going to give you the death penalty or kill you. So they don't want to come back. But these are rough people. These are criminals that make our criminals look like nice people. And it's horrible what they're doing. And she's in charge of it, because, now she's trying to say she had nothing to do with it. And she's such a liar, because she was called the border czar the first day, and it was on the headlines of every newspaper. She's the border czar, and she never even went there. She went to one location, which had nothing to do with where the problem is. She went in and out, I guess, because she was getting a lot of pressure, but had nothing to do with the problem is. But she was the border czar, and people can't allow them to get away with their disinformation campaign. Now she's trying to say that she wasn't she wasn't really involved, and the whole thing is horrible. She was totally in charge. She could have shut the border down without him. He didn't know what he was doing anyway, so he wouldn't have even known what happened. You could shut the border down. He wouldn't even know the difference. But the fact is that she was border czar. But if you don't have to call her that, the fact is you could just call her, she was in charge of the border, and the border was the worst ever.
It's simply not working.
No, it's horrible.
Whether it's a question of intention or competence, either way, we don't have a secure border, and we have people streaming over like it looks like a World War Z zombie apocalypse at times. And sometimes you got to sort of wonder, like, is it real or not? So because you see things, you're like, is it real? So I went to the border at Eagle Pass, and I saw for myself in Texas, and I was like, okay, it's real. I'm like seeing this in real time. I actually posted the video like just live. I just flew there one day and just to see, hey, is this made up or real? And I'm just seeing people stream across the border, and I have to say, at least the people that I saw did not look friendly.
These are
people can look at my video and say, hey, these people look friendly. I don't look super friendly. So
these are people that Elon would not be the same man if he had to walk across the street and look these people in the eye. These are rough people. These are really rough people coming across. And I know rough people. And these are people that we don't want in our country. And, the caravans are coming in, and they're putting, and who's doing this are the heads of the countries. And you would be doing it, and so would I. And everyone would say, oh, what a terrible thing to say. The fact is, it's brilliant for them because they're taking all of their bad people, really bad people. And I hate to say this, the reason the numbers are much bigger than you would think is they're also taking their non-productive people. Now, these aren't people that will kill you. We have enough of them. But these are people that are non-productive. They are just non-productive. I mean, for whatever reason, they're not workers, or they don't want to work, or whatever. And these countries are getting rid of non-productive people in the caravans in many cases. And they're also getting rid of their murderers and their drug dealers and the people that are really brutal people. And they're coming into our country at levels that have never been seen before. And I saw an ad just before I got on the air. I'm walking over here, and I saw an ad by Kamala saying how she is going to provide border security. Where has she been for 3.5 years? For 3.5 years, we have 20 million people for it. It's a terrible.
Yeah, I think this, frankly, I think this is a fundamental existential issue for the United States. And if we have another 4 more years of open borders, and it's going to be even worse with another 4 more years, it's going to be even worse than it's been for the past 3.5 years. I'm not sure we've got a country.
You don't have a country left. Elon, if they get in, you will have 50 to 60 million people from all over the world, not South America only. We think of South America, we think of Honduras and El Salvador, Guatemala, and Mexico, the 4. But it's not that. It's everywhere. They're coming in from everywhere. And I had to stay in Mexico.
Yeah, I think this is a super important point. Like, people, it's like, basically, when I went down there, I was like, well, where are people from? It's like almost no one was from Mexico.
No, Mexico less.
It's just the border. It's just the border with Mexico. But the people coming in, it's Earth, the rest of Earth, and America is only about 4 or 5% of the population of Earth. It would only take a few % of the rest of Earth to overwhelm everything.
We're already overwhelmed, Elon. We're overwhelmed. You had to see the news tonight about New York, and I love that place. And what they're doing to it is horrible. What they're doing to it, and all the courts do is they try and focus on Trump. Okay, let's focus on Trump, who did nothing wrong. I complain about a rigged election. Elon, what's happened is unbelievable. You have from Africa. From the Congo, they're coming from the Congo, and 22 people came in from the Congo recently, and they're murderers, and they're dropped. They drop them. They take them out of jails, which is very expensive, to maintain the jails. Although they don't do too much maintaining, I can tell you. But they take them out of jails, prisons. They take them out, and they bring them to the United States. They deposit them in the United States and say, "Don't ever come back, or you're going to be executed." And they don't want to come back. But they won't come back.
Sure.
But they're coming from Africa. They're coming from Asia. They're coming from the Middle East. They're coming from South America.
just
They're
Earth,
coming from
rest of Earth,
everywhere.
basically.
And there are a lot of
Yeah,
really
everywhere on
bad
Earth.
ones.
It's just an everywhere on Earth thing, and it's just not possible for the United States to absorb, everyone from Earth, or even a few percent of the rest of Earth. It's just not possible. So,
Well, Elon, we're going to have to finish this up. We're going to have the largest deportation in history of this country, and we have no choice. Otherwise, we're going to have a country. What they've done to our country. Think of it, with in Venezuela and in some of these other countries, crime is down 50, 60, 70, 80%. And you would be the same. You would have.
Yeah.
I'll tell you what. Venezuela has not gotten rid of all of them. They've gotten rid of about 70% of their really bad people. Their jails are about 50% put into the United States. The same with other countries.
Sure.
Some are at 30%, some are at 50%. They're all different. But the bottom line is they're all going to be at 100%. Why wouldn't you put 100% of it?
Yeah.
And they're doing it right now while this third-rate phony candidate. Don't forget, I beat Biden. He failed in the debate miserably. And, some people said, oh, gee, it's too bad. It's too bad he did so badly, or I did well in the debate. The first night they said, wow, one of the people at CNN said that was the greatest debate performance I've ever witnessed. And then 2 days later, they didn't talk about that. They just said he was bad. But that's okay. That's the way I get treated, and I don't mind that at all. What I can tell you is this. We cannot have a Democrat. We cannot have her. She's incompetent. She's as bad as Biden in a different.
Yeah.
Look, she hasn't done an interview since this whole scam started. And say what you want. This was a coup. This was a coup of a president of the United States. He didn't want to leave, and they said we can do it the nice way, or we can do it the hard way.
Yeah, they just took him out back behind the shed and basically shot him.
What they did with this guy, and I'm no fan of his, and he was a horrible president, the worst president in history. And one of the reasons he was so bad, first of all, the Israeli attack would have never happened. Russia would never have attacked Ukraine, and we'd have no inflation. And we wouldn't have had the Afghanistan mess, if you think of it. And we wouldn't have had Afghanistan. But we think of it. You take a few of those events
He's
away,
gotta
and
jump
we have
in.
a different world. We would also have inflation was caused by oil.
Yeah, no, I think you're making an excellent point here, which is that when other countries can, that are, are thinking about invading or doing bad things, when they're thinking about that, they're thinking about, okay, what's the American president going to do? And do they fear the American president, or is there someone they do not respect and do not fear? And I think they would rightfully be. I mean, look at the footage of the assassination. They're like, okay, President Trump is like, don't mess with me. I mean, that's like, whereas I think people are not going to be, and they obviously have not been at all intimidated by Biden, and they certainly will not be intimidated by Kamala. And you have to really think of that in the context of global security. That if the American president is someone that, like, evil dictators are scared of, that makes a huge difference to the security of the world.
So I had a good relationship with Putin, despite the Russia hoax that lasted for over 2 years. Just a hoax created by Hillary Clinton and Adam Schiff, some just bad people, just sick people, frankly. I mean, Schiff is a sick person. He's going to end up probably being a senator. It's hard to believe. The whole thing is hard to believe. But, they put our country in danger with that stuff, too. They actually, when they make up stories, and you have to fight your way out of it for a long time. But I know Putin very well. I got along with him very well. He respected me, and it's just one of those things. And we would talk a lot about Ukraine. It was the apple of his eye. But I said, don't ever do it. Don't ever do it. I shut down Nord Stream 2. That was the big oil pipeline, the biggest pipeline in the world going all over Europe. I shut it down. Biden came, and then they say, I loved Russia. I was a friend of Putin, and I loved Russia. No, he actually said to me one time, he said, if you're my friend, I'd hate to see you as an enemy. I shut down his pipeline, the biggest pipeline. They were looking at that to fund, and this pathetic president gets in there. And the first thing he did, one of the early things he did, is he shut down Keystone XL pipeline, which is our pipeline that would have employed 48,000 people, pipeline workers, shuts it down. that was, a massive job that Obama refused to allow.
Yeah.
I allowed it in my first week because it was jobs and it moved oil. And by the way, in a much more environmentally friendly way. It's underground. It's not a truck that catches on fire or a train that catches on fire. But think of it. He shut down the XL pipeline, the Keystone XL pipeline.
Yeah.
He shuts that down and he approves the Russian pipeline.
Yeah, it doesn't make any
Right?
sense. It's inconsistent. Certainly but I mean, I think it's just worth emphasizing, to listeners the immense importance of whether the United States president is intimidating or not intimidating, and how much that matters to global security, because there's some real tough characters out there, and if they don't think the American president is tough, they will do what they want to do.
I know every one of
and
them.
that puts the whole world in danger.
Elon, I know every one of them, and I know them well. I know Putin, I know President Xi, I know Kim Jong-un of North Korea. I know every one of them. And let me tell you, people will say, oh, this is terrible. He said, I'm not saying anything good or bad. They're at the top of their game. They're tough, they're smart, they're vicious, and they're going to protect their country, whether they love their country. They probably do. It's just a different form of love, but they're going to protect their country. But these are tough people at the top of their game. And when they see a Kamala or when they see Biden, Sleepy Joe, they can't even believe it. They can't believe this happened. All the stuff that you're seeing now, all the horror that you look at Israel, they're all waiting for an attack from Iran. Iran would not be attacking, believe me. When I was there, and I say it with respect because I think we would have been good with Iran. I don't want to do anything bad to Iran, but they knew not to mess around. Iran was broke because I told China, if you buy from Iran oil, it's all about the oil. That's where the money is. But if you buy oil from Iran, you're not going to do any business with the United States. And I meant it. And they said, we'll pass. They didn't buy oil. Other countries, likewise.
Sure.
You want to buy, you're not doing business with the United States. And they were at a point where they had no money for Hamas. They had no money for Hezbollah. They had no money for any of these instruments of terror. And it was amazing. In fact, there were articles when I was leaving, which is hard to believe, actually, especially when you look at what's happened to our country. Our country is so bad right now. It's such a different place. We were respected. Think of it. 4 years ago, we were so respected to a point where when I said don't buy oil, they didn't buy oil. But they had no money, and Israel would have never been attacked. Zero chance. And again, I said to Vladimir Putin, I said, don't do it. You can't do it, Vladimir. You do it, it's going to be a bad day.
You're gonna say that to me? Holy.
And I told him things that what I do, and he said, no way. And I said, way. And it's the last time we ever had the conversation. He would never have done. I got along well with him. I hope to get along well with him again. Getting along well with them is a good thing, not a bad thing. I got along well with Kim Jong-un. When I met with President Obama just before entering, it's a sort of a ritual. And I sat down with him and we talked. It was supposed to be for a very short period of time. It turned out to be a long period of time. I said, what's the biggest problem? He said, North Korea. I had that problem worked out very quickly. It was nasty at the beginning with Rocket Man and, all the different things.
Yeah.
But all of a sudden I got a call.
Those were some epic tweets, by the way.
Yeah, they were epic everything. He said that he has a red button on his desk. I said, I have a red button on my desk too, but my red button is much bigger and my red button works. And then I called him Little Rocket Man of Little Rocket Man. Anyway, here's the bottom line. All of a sudden I got a call from him. And they said they want to meet. They want to meet me. And we met, as you remember, we met in Singapore. We met also in Vietnam. And I got along with them great. We were in no danger. But President Obama thought we were going to end up in a war, a nuclear war with him. And let me tell you, he's got a lot of nuclear stuff, too.
Exactly.
He's got plenty of nuclear. He can do plenty of damage.
Yes, I mean, it's because, people like Kim Jong-un, they respond to strength, not weakness.
Well,
and
he and I had a good relationship. Remember I met him and we walked onto his land. Nobody ever walked onto his land before. I walked onto. I wouldn't say. Let's bring up Secret Service again. I wouldn't say they were thrilled when I did that. I walked onto his land, and it was an amazing period. But we were not in danger with him because of me. You know, I always
Yeah.
say that we have enemies on the outside and we have enemies on the inside. We have some really bad people in our government and people that are and controlling of the people. I mean, I'd mention names, but I really don't want to give them the credit. But we have some really bad, and I say they're more dangerous than Russia and China. If you have a smart president, a president that gets it, we are not in danger from those countries because they need us and they need our help. I mean, we forced Obama, if you think about it, Obama and Biden and Bush to a certain extent, in all fairness, forced Russia and China together. And if you're a history student, the first thing you learn is you cannot let Russia and China align. But then they also got, if you take a look, Iran, and they have North Korea. That's, you know, they call it the axis of evil. In the old days, you had the axis of evil. Here we have a modern day axis of evil. These are powerful countries, very heavy nuclear, which is the biggest threat.
Yeah.
You know, the biggest threat is not global warming, where the ocean's going to rise 1/8 of an inch over the next 400 years. And you'll have more oceanfront property, right? The biggest threat is not that. The biggest threat is nuclear warming, because we have 5 countries now that have significant nuclear power, and we have to not allow anything to happen with stupid people like Biden. You know, Biden did something with Russia. There was no chance of him ever going in. And when I left, and then after I left, they started forming big armies on the border with Ukraine, right? And I looked at that, and I thought he was doing that because Putin's a good negotiator. I thought he was doing that to negotiate. But then Biden started saying such stupid things. For instance, he said that it can be a NATO country. Now, Russia, for as long as there's been NATO, has said we're never going to agree to that. And we go right up front and say that. And we did things and said things through this president with a low IQ, very low IQ. He had a low IQ 30 years ago, by the way, but now he might not even have a IQ at all. There's nothing on the board that goes this low. He said things that were so stupid that war had zero chance of happening if I were there. Zero chance. He was saying everything the opposite. Everything the opposite. And it's so sad because many more people have been killed in Ukraine than you read about. You don't read about how bloody it is and how disastrous.
Sure.
Hey, look, just in the 2 armies, you lost 500,000 people. And, you know, Ukraine's having a hard time. Ukraine, I don't know if you saw the article recently, and it's true. You don't hear the true story. But if you think about it, Russia's gone, you know, Russia defeated Germany with us, and they defeated Napoleon. You know, they've been around a long time. They're a big fighting force.
Yeah. Sure.
And it's very unfair. And Ukraine now doesn't have enough men. They're now using young men and very old men to fight. And we're in a very bad position. And I'm not going to blame exclusively, but I can tell you, I could have stopped that. And a smart president could have stopped that. It wouldn't have happened. But we had a man that actually made it more prevalent.
Elon doesn't even have to interview him. He just interviews himself.
The words that he was, the stupid threats coming from a stupid face that he was using. I said, this guy's going to cause us a war. He's going to cause us. And let me tell you, it can lead to World War III. That can lead to World War III. The Middle East can lead to. We have numerous places that could end up in a World War III right now for no reason whatsoever.
No, I think you're right. I think people underrate the risk of World War III, and it's just you know, when you're looking at the risk of global thermonuclear warfare, it's game over for humanity. And you know, it's something that people have, I think, after the end of the Cold War, people have become complacent about, but they actually have forgotten that there are apparently a lot of nuclear missiles that have targeting parameters for the United States from
100%.
other countries.
And one of the things we're going to do is we're going to build an Iron Dome over us. You know, Israel has it. We're going to have the best Iron Dome in the world. We need it, and we're going to make it all in the United States. But we're going to have protection, because it just takes one maniac to, you know, start something. We're going to have protection, and we're going to have. Why shouldn't we have an Iron Dome? Israel has one. Some other places have one that nobody even knows about, frankly. But Israel has it. We're going to have an Iron Dome. But you know, with all of that being said, to me that's so important, the most important. But with all of that being said, the election's coming up, and the people want to hear about the economy. and the fact that
Absolutely,
they can't
sure.
buy groceries because they don't have enough money to buy groceries. The inflation has killed them. Food prices are up 50, 60, even 100% in some cases. And this stupid administration allowed this to happen. And it's a shame. And that's the thing that people most care about, in my opinion. They care about the border a lot. And we discussed the border at great length. It's nice to have a forum like this where I can discuss something at length. And by the way, you think Biden could do this interview? Do you think that Kamala could do this interview? They would take a pass on you.
No, they could not.
So they don't need Elon. They don't need Elon screaming out questions. It's pretty sad when you think that somebody that does this for a living can't answer a question or is afraid to do an interview. And in her case, with a very friendly interview, she's got all friendly interviewers. It's pretty sad.
Yes, absolutely.
But the big thing now is the economy, Elon.
Yeah.
And as much as I mean, I view nuclear as the single most important thing, but a lot of people don't. A lot of people don't understand that. But it doesn't have to. If I understand it, that's all you need. Because if I was president, you're not going to have that kind of a problem. But the thing that they really is making them angry is what Kamala and Biden have allowed to happen to the economy. It's a disaster with inflation. The inflation, it doesn't matter what you make. The inflation is eating you alive. If you're a worker or if you're just a middle income person, you can't afford, 4 years ago, 5 years ago, people were saving a lot of money. Today, they're using all their money and borrowing money just to live. It's a horrible thing that's happening. And we'll end that quickly.
Well, I think a lot of, a lot of people just don't understand where inflation comes from. Inflation comes from government overspending because the checks never bounce when it's written by the government. So if the government spends far more than it brings in, that increases the money supply. And if the money supply increases faster than the rate of goods and services, that's inflation. So really, we need to have we need to reduce our government spending, and we need to re-examine. I think we need like a government efficiency commission to say like, hey, where are we spending money that's sensible? Where is it not sensible? And we need to live within our means. We're currently adding, I think, $1 trillion to the deficit roughly every 100 days.
We got what I wanted to say.
And the interest payments on the national debt have now exceeded the defense budget. It's on the order of $1 trillion.
It's interest,
and it keeps growing.
I rebuilt our military, largely rebuilt our military. Did a great job on it, which was so important. We had jets, we had fighters that were and bombers that were 70 years old, and we did a great job in that. Then we gave 85 billion of it back to Afghanistan, if you can believe it. We gave them 85 billion. They're one of the largest sellers of military equipment in the world. They're selling what we gave them. That was one of the most embarrassing days in the history of our country. But if you think about, let's go back to the economy. We have to bring energy prices down. Energy started at the price of gasoline.
Yes.
Now your cars don't require too much gasoline, so you have a good, and you do make a great product. I have to say, I have to be honest with you. That doesn't mean everybody should have an electric car, but these are minor details. But your product is incredible. But the gasoline, Elon, is the cost of energy. Not only gasoline, it's the cost of heating your house and cooling your house. That has to come down. It's gone up 100%, 150, and 200%, and that has to come down. When that comes down, and we're going to drill, baby, drill. They stopped drilling, and then they went back to drilling because they went back to the Trump policy. But if they won the day after they get into office, this country will go out of business because they're going to go to an energy policy that's not sustainable. Wind and different things. You're not going to have anything. And I know you're a big fan of the AI, and I have to say that AI, and this is shocking to me, but AI requires twice the energy that the country already produces for everything. So we're going to have to build a lot of energy if our country will be competitive with China, because that's our primary competitor for this on the AI. You're going to need a lot of electricity. You're going to need tremendous electricity, like almost double what we produce now for the whole country, if you can believe it.
Sure. Well, just going, back to this, like this basic thing, that people try to make it sound complicated, but it's not. But inflation is caused by government overspending. Would you agree that that we need to take a look at government spending and have perhaps a government efficiency commission that just tries to make the spending sensible and so the country lives within its means, just like a person
The
does.
waste is incredible, and nobody negotiates prices. You used to have a lot of people making jets, and you end up with two companies, and they'll probably try and merge at some point. I mean, I went through it, like Air Force, just a thing like Air Force One. One of the first documents they asked me to sign, a general said, "Sir, would you please sign this document?" And what is it? Air Force One. That's with Boeing, which is basically two planes, two 747s. And the price was $5.7 billion for two planes. Now, now they're highly sophisticated.
That's insane.
They're even nicer than your plane, okay? But much more sophisticated. They're very, I won't say what's on it, but they got a lot of stuff on it. Anyway, but it's 5.7.
That's a crazy number.
It's a crazy number. But I said, I'm not going to pay 5.7. I'm not going to do it. I said, who made the deal? Obama and his people. I said, well, then I know the deal's no good. I'm not going to do it. And over a course of about 4 weeks, by my saying I'm not going to do it, I got the price reduced by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane, other than we had a nicer paint job, if you want to know the truth. But for the exact same plane, I saved one. And I said to Boeing, man, you guys must make a lot of money if you can reduce the price by that. But now what I do hear is that they're going back to the Biden administration and wanting big cost overruns, because they see these dopey suckers in there, and they'll end up getting some of the money back. But I shaved it by $1.6 billion for the exact same plane. And you can now take that and multiply that out times thousands of other items.
Multiply it by a
the
zillion,
numbers are astronomical. I agree with you.
Well, I mean, I think it would be great to just have a government efficiency commission that takes a look at these things and just ensures that the taxpayer money, the taxpayers' hard-earned money, is spent in a good way. And I'd be happy to help out on such a commission.
I'd love it
if it were formed.
Well, you're the greatest cutter. I mean, I look at what you do. You walk in and you just say, you want to quit? They go on strike. I won't mention the name of the company, but they go on strike, and you say, that's okay. You're all gone.
That was big
You're
chat.
all gone. So every one of you is gone, and you are the greatest. You would be very good. Oh, you would love it. But, if you look at Argentina.
Well, I'd be happy to help
By the way,
out.
congratulations. I just looked at the number of people that are listening to you and I chat. We'll call it a chat. But congratulations. This is very good. I mean, it's great. And you're an interesting character. The new head of a place called Argentina, and he's a big, he's great. And he's a big MAGA fan, that he ran on MAGA. And he took it to an extreme too. He ran on MAGA, and I hear he's doing really a terrific job. It's called Make Argentina Great Again. It worked out perfectly. He came in, he bought a lot of hats, he brought everything, but he's doing a big job. He really cut. And I'm hearing they're starting to do pretty well. Inflation's getting down. They had like 2,000%.
Exactly.
They had inflation like not normal inflation. They had the real deal. But we're going to have that pretty soon. I think we have the worst inflation we've had in 100 years. They say it's 48 years. I don't believe it. I think we have the worst. They don't include a lot of the items that should be included.
Yeah. Well, it's just from government overspending and not spending taxpayer money effectively, and having just like so many departments you can't even name them all. And what Milei is doing is he's cutting government spending. He's simplifying things. He's putting in regulations that make sense. And Argentina overnight is experiencing a giant improvement in prosperity. But it's also a lesson for the United States, which is that Argentina used to be one of the most prosperous countries in the world. In the 30s, 40s, and because of bad government policy, it ruined the country. And if you take Venezuela, for example, Venezuela should be incredibly prosperous. They have phenomenal reserves of everything, oil, everything, and it should be prosperous. But if the government's wrong, it impoverishes the people. And so I think we should not be complacent in the United States in thinking that and taking our prosperity for granted, because if with bad government policy, we can run the country into the ground. And that's just something people should bear in mind. Don't take prosperity for granted.
Well, think of education. So we're ranked at the bottom of every list of the top 40. We're ranked number 40, number 38. Norway, Switzerland, Sweden, different countries are ranked good. Actually, China's pretty close to the top. They're a top 6 or 7. But we're ranked at the bottom, almost at the bottom, 38, 39, 40. In other words, horrible. And yet we spend more per pupil than any other country in the world. So we spend more. And what I'm going to do, one of the first acts, and this is where I need an Elon Musk. I need somebody that has a lot of strength and courage and smarts. I want to close up Department of Education, move education back to the states, where states like Iowa, where states like Idaho, not every state will do great, because states that basically aren't doing good now. You look at Gavin Newsom, the governor of California. He's terrible. He does a terrible job. So he's not going to do great with education. But of the 50, I would bet that 35 would do great, and 15 of them, or 20 of them, will be as good as Norway. Norway is considered great. You can name them. I mean, they're so good. Some of these countries are so good. But if you go into some of these really well-run states, we have states that don't know what debt is. We have states that have low taxes, no debt, everybody working. They're really well-run. Sure. And maybe they have certain advantages in terms of location, in terms of, the land or the sun and the water and the whole thing. There are a lot of advantages that some people have. But if you moved education,
0% literacy rate,
you'll have some that won't do well, but they'll actually be forced to do better, because it'll be a pretty bad situation. But if you think about it, you'll have some of these states. I'll bet you'd have 30, 35 states. It'll be much better. And you know what it'll cost? Less than half what it is in Washington. And these people don't care about the students in these, faraway states. And it'd be unbelievable.
Yeah. I think you're making a good point in that if the states have to if each state has to compete against other states,
it says Japan's the
then
smartest.
people will naturally move to states where it's better.
Well, like California, as we said, it's a badly run state. I could go through it. I got so many friends are in those states, even if they're Democrats. I hate to mention certain states, but Illinois is badly run with Pritzker. He's a real loser. But some of these places are just badly run. But it's almost going to force them to run better, and they won't do it good initially. But you're not going to do worse than you're doing right now. And I would say that the cost, you would cut your cost by 50 or 60%. And you'd have a little monitor. You want to make sure they're teaching English, as an example. Give us a little English, right?
Sure.
Right.
Yeah. No, but I mean, to what? I mean, some of these governors are
where's he getting this list
they
from?
got so many people moving.
No.
They should get U-Haul Salesman of the Year award because they're driving so much U-Haul.
It's actually amazing.
It's just people moving out.
Isn't it amazing to you as a businessman that they can even survive? Like Illinois. So many people are leaving, and you wonder, how do they survive? I mean, how do they survive? I saw where you left California, and you moved to Texas. Texas does a great job. But, I mean, I just wonder, how do these states survive when big businesses, a big oil company just left California, as you know, and they moved to Texas. How do these big states survive when they lose so many businesses? And their taxes are already really high. The taxes are among the highest taxes. You almost wonder, how do they continue on? And in many cases, the governors don't do a good job, and they're crime-ridden places. You wonder, how do they continue to just go on? It's not a good situation.
I think the only thing that's going to force some of these states to change is if they risk bankruptcy and they're not getting bailed out by the federal government.
Right. Well,
That's
you're
the
gonna
only
have
thing that's
that.
going to get them to change.
You remember the area in California where they had that, where I guess somebody had sticky fingers and they stole a lot of money, and they went into a form of chapter, and it was very nasty for a period of time. But now it's probably the most popular place in all of California. So at some point, something like that may have to happen. But the problem is, you can't penalize people that loan money to the state when you have incompetent people like a Pritzker look, the family didn't want him in the family business, and then he ends up being governor of Illinois. So you know what? Is he going to be? Is he going to be a great governor? And you know, you have people. I could name every one of them. I got to know every one of
Yep.
these, and some are very good, and some are just horrible.
Well, I think that, I mean, the larger point here, too, you know, as you're saying, like you know, a lot of people are concerned about the economy, a lot of people are concerned about inflation, and inflation is effectively a tax on people that save money, and for people that are working day to day, it's just a form of taxation, and if we can solve the government spending problem, we'll solve the inflation problem, which means people will have a better standard of living, and that's a really big deal.
Well, the people that got hurt worst are the people that did it the way they were taught to do it, all through, you know, their younger life and their young life and their whole life. The people that saved money, and then they got no interest on their money, and inflation destroyed them. And frankly, they were almost better off if they didn't do anything like that. I mean, those people have been absolutely decimated, and we're going to bring those people back and help those people. We've got to get the prices down. You know, when I look at bacon costing 4 or 5 times more than it did a few years ago, when you look at some of the food products in grocery stores, people go, they can't believe it. They used to be able to buy a whole cart, and today, you know, a lot of people just don't have the money. They go in and they can't buy anything. They look at it's sticker shock. They call it sticker shock, right?
I think it really just comes, like I said, I think it just comes down to really, I guess, two things, which is that if you solve government overspending, you solve inflation, which improves living standards of the average person, and then if you deregulate, like have sensible regulations.
Don't know where that number came from.
The regulations nonsensical and cause the cost to be extreme for no reason.
They're all different though.
But unless you've got effective deregulation, like Reagan did a great job on deregulation in the 80s, but it's been 40 years since we had anyone really. I mean, during your administration, we made some progress, but I think there's opportunity to make, I think, radical progress with sensible regulation. And if
Elon,
those two things, those are the big deals.
We set a record. We did more deregulation and more restrictions on all of the different businesses than any other president. Remember, I had the rule for every one we put in, you have to get rid of 10 or 12. And we did radical cuts on all of that. And a lot of that's being put back by this administration. And we did radical cuts on things that weren't necessary. But we were all set. You know, we had the best economy ever maybe in the world. And then what happened is COVID came in, and we had to focus on that, and nobody knew what it was. And I always say I got good marks on economy, good marks on military. We knocked out ISIS. We did so many different things. We rebuilt. But, you know, I never got the credit that we really deserved on what we did with COVID. We never got the credit. But had that not happened, a gift from China, from Wuhan, came in from Wuhan, the Wuhan labs, and I always said it, and it turned out to be right. But had that not happened, we were set to start reducing debt. We were going to reduce taxes further. I gave the largest tax cuts, and we were going to reduce taxes still further for middle-income people, not only businesses. But we did it for businesses because they're the ones that's why we had the great job numbers. But we were set to really
37th math.
Reducing debt. And, you know, we're sitting on the biggest pile of liquid gold anywhere in the world, bigger than Saudi Arabia, bigger than Russia. And we were going to drill, and we were going to make so much money. We were going to supply Europe with oil. I had stopped the Russian pipeline, and we were going to supply them with oil and gas. We were going to,
and then it says
we were going to make a fortune.
Yeah.
The COVID came in, and we really had to divert. Then what happened is when they came in, you know, we kept a lot of businesses alive. If I didn't do what we did, we would have had a 1929 type depression. But the problem is when Biden came in, he got trillions of dollars and just started spending it stupidly. You didn't need it anymore. You know, we got over that bad period where everybody was dying and, you know, it was just not a good period. Interestingly, you know, during his administration, many more people died during his administration of COVID than during my administration, and we really got the brunt of it.
You look at Bitcoin right now.
People don't realize more people died during his administration than ours, but it diverted us from doing what I wanted to do. But we had the greatest for, you know, almost 3 years. We had the great, and you know that probably better than anybody. So many of your friends said to me, the best years we've ever had in business were
This is
during
so
the
fucked.
Trump years. And all
Yeah.
that
Move your mic a
African
little bit further than your mouth.
American, Hispanic American were
Better.
so incredible.
Yeah.
They were having the best Asian American women, men, young people without a diploma, young people that
so good.
graduated from the best colleges, from MIT, from the Wharton School, from all of the great colleges, Harvard. They were doing better, and people without a diploma were doing better, and everybody was happy. And then COVID came, and we had the problem is they spent trillions and trillions of dollars. They wasted. They shouldn't have taken any money, and we wouldn't be having inflation right now, which is killing our country.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, I should probably say something about like, maybe my views on, climate change and oil and gas, because I think I'm probably different from what most people would assume. Because my views are actually pretty, I think, moderate in this regard. Which
Meme
is
coins are
that
pumping for Trump right now.
vilify the oil and gas industry and the people that have worked very hard in those industries to provide the necessary energy to support the economy. And if we were to stop using oil and gas right now, we would all be starving, and the economy would collapse. So it's I don't think it's right to sort of vilify the oil and gas industry, and the world has a certain demand for oil and gas, and it's probably better if the United States provides that than some other countries, and it would help with prosperity in the U.S. And at the same time, obviously, my view is like, we do over time want to move to a sustainable energy economy, because eventually you do run out of. I mean, you run out of oil and gas. It's not there. It's not infinite, and there is some risk. I think the risk is not as high as a lot of people say it is with respect to global warming. But I think if you just keep increasing the parts per million in the atmosphere long enough, eventually it actually simply gets uncomfortable to breathe. People don't realize this. If you go past 1,000 parts per million of CO2, you start getting headaches and nausea. And so we're now in the sort of 400 range. We're adding, I think, about roughly 2 parts per million per year. So I mean, it still gives us. So what it means is like we still have quite a bit of time, but so there's not like we don't need to rush, and we don't need to stop farmers from farming, or prevent people from having steaks, or basic stuff like that. Like you can leave the farmers alone.
I agree. How crazy is that? Where I mean, you have farmers that are not allowed to farm anymore and have to get rid of their cattle, and the whole world is a little crazy. But it's largely taken its lead from us. I do say though, I've heard in terms of the fossil fuel, because even to create your electric car and create the electricity needed for the electric car, fossil fuel is what really creates that at the generating plants. And, so you sort of can't get away from it at this moment. I mean, someday you might be able to, but I do hear we have anywhere from 100 to 500 years left. Much of it hasn't even been found yet.
Yeah.
But there are tremendous, like Anwar. I got Anwar in Alaska approved. Ronald Reagan couldn't do it. Nobody could do it. Everybody tried. Nobody could do it. I got it approved. The first thing that Biden did was unimprove it, to get rid of it. He ended it. His secretary went in and she ended it. And what a disgrace. That's Anwar. That's bigger, or they think it could be bigger than Saudi Arabia in Alaska. Could be bigger than Saudi Arabia. But they went in and they terminated it. And I'll get it going very quickly, because not only is it big for Alaska, I mean, you talk about economic development, that for the United States, I mean, that is, they say bigger than Saudi Arabia or the same size, and pure, really good stuff. And, they end it. So I think we have, perhaps hundreds of years left. Nobody really knows. But during that time, something will come around that will be very good.
Yeah. Well, I mean, my estimate would be, a little more aggressive than that. But it's not the sort of like we're all going to die in 5 years stuff. That's obviously BS. But I mean, my view is like, if you just look at sort of the parts per million that increments every year, you get sort of 2 or 3 parts per million every year of CO2. I mean, I think some of that it's problematic if it accelerates, if you start going from 2 or 3 to say 5, and then there may be some situations where you get just a step change increase in the CO2, and I think we don't want to get too close to 1,000 ppm, because like that's actually makes it uncomfortable to breathe. Like just existing in 1,000 ppm CO2 is uncomfortable. That's like that's considered like an industrial hazard,
right?
Just so it's that's actually, you start getting headaches and stuff. So it's even without global warming, it's not comfortable to live. So you don't want to get too close to that. But I mean, I think we've got. I think we want to just move over, and like, and if I don't know, 50 to 100 years from now, we're I don't know, mostly sustainable, I think that'll probably be okay. So it's not like the house is on fire immediately, but I think it is something we need to move towards. And on balance, it's probably better to move there faster than slower. But like I said, without vilifying the oil and gas industry, and without causing hardship in the short term, I think this can be done. Without, people can still have, a stake, and they can still drive gasoline cars, and it's okay. It's like not,
Elon Musk always stutters. He's got
but I think we should
a form of autism.
Just generally lean in the direction of sustainability.
He's had that forever since he was born.
I actually think solar is going to be a majority of Earth's energy generation in the future, and it's certainly trending that way. And so you get the solar power. Combine that with batteries, so because obviously the sun doesn't shine at night, and then you use that to charge the electric cars.
How did I get flagged for hate speech?
And you have a long-term sustainable solution.
Actually,
that's what Tesla's trying to move things towards, and I think we've made.
I'm going to turn off TikTok live. I don't want to get banned
But
again.
when you look at our cars, we don't believe that environmentalism.
You guys are going to get kicked off.
Caring about the environment should mean that you have to.
Oh, good.
So we make sure that our cars are beautiful, that they drive well, that they're fast, they're sexy. I mean, they're cool. In fact, literally, I mean, the sexy joke, Model S, Model 3, Model X, and Y spells out
25,000 views on TikTok. That's crazy.
Yeah, it's nuts.
But I don't know. I like cheesy humor.
I don't know what we got restricted for.
But I'm a big fan of, like, let's have an inspiring future, and let's work towards a better future, and we do so without demonizing.
Right.
People.
I'm okay. It's very interesting. You use the word global warming, and today they use the word climate change because you have some
I'm gonna take a fucking piss.
So they were getting themselves in a little trouble with the word global warming, because not every place is warming. Some places are going the opposite direction. But I'm sort of waiting for you to come up with solar panels on the roofs of your cars and on the trunks of the cars, and it just seems like something that at some point you will come up with. I'm sure you'll be the first. But it would seem that a solar panel on the roofs, on flat surfaces, on certain surfaces might be good.
Yeah.
At least in certain areas of the country where you have the world where you have the sun. But
Asperger's, I think what it is. My bad.
I have no idea because that's not my world. But I would think that this would be something that would be interesting. But the one thing that I don't understand is that people talk about global warming or they talk about climate change, but they never talk about nuclear warming. And to me, that's an immediate problem, because you have, as I said, 5 countries where you have major nuclear, and probably some others are getting there, and that's very dangerous. That's where you need a strong American president, because you don't want to have this proliferation. But you have 5 countries and getting more. China is much less than us right now, but they're going to catch us sooner than people think. They're way lower. Russia and us are number 1, and we're sort of tied. And China is far behind, but they're developing at a level that, you're not surprised to hear, very fast. They'll end up catching up, maybe even surpassing. But to me, the biggest problem is not climate change. It's not, and everything's, a problem, but it's degrees. To me, the big problem is the nuclear power. The power of nuclear is so great. And when I talk about I'll prevent World War III, I will. But the truth is that you have to, because this is no longer army tanks going back and forth and shooting at each other. This is a level of destruction and power.
It was a DDoS attack. This is embarrassing of Michael Skolnick.
There's the bad side of nuclear, which is a nuclear war, very bad side. But there's also, I think, nuclear electricity generation is underrated.
You're right.
And it's actually, people have this fear of nuclear electricity generation, but it's actually one of the safest forms of electricity generation. It's just a huge misunderstanding. And if you look at the injuries and deaths, caused by, say, I mean, I'm not going to try to pick on coal mining, but just any kind of mining operation. And there's a certain number of injuries and deaths per year. And you compare that to nuclear. Nuclear is actually way better. So it's underrated as an electricity source, and I think it's something that's worth reconsidering. But there's so much regulation that people can't get it done. So that
maybe they'll have to change the name. The name is it's a rough name. There are some areas like when you see what happened in
bad branding.
We'll have to rebrand it. We'll have to give it a good name. We'll name it after you or something. No, it has a branding problem. When you see what happened,
it does have a branding problem.
When you see what happened in Japan, where they say you won't be able to go on the land for about 3,000 years. Did you ever see that? And in Russia, where they had the problem, where they there's a lot of bad things happened, and they have a problem. And they say that in 2,000 years, people will start to occupy the land again. You realize it's pretty bad.
No, that's not true.
But you're right about it. It's amazing.
It's actually not that bad. So like after Fukushima happened in Japan, like people were asking me in California, are we worried about like a nuclear cloud coming from Japan? I'm like, no, that's crazy. It's not even dangerous in Fukushima. I actually flew there and ate locally grown vegetables on TV to prove it. And I donated a solar water treatment, a solar powered system for a water treatment plant. And
but you haven't been feeling so well lately.
That's funny.
I'm worried about it.
No, but I mean,
I'm only kidding.
It's fine, It's like Hiroshima and Nagasaki were bombed, but now they're like full cities again. So it's really not something that
That's right.
So it's not as scary as people think, basically. But let's see. I mean, are there some other topics we should touch on? Like lawfare. I think we need to be concerned about
what they've done to this country.
Obviously.
Yeah. Well, we just won the big case in Florida. This was a Biden administration did something that's never been done in this country, and that's go after their political opponent, me, with this nonsense and just nonsense. And the big case in Florida we won, but they always pick a judge and a jury, and they use the local DAs, they use the local attorney generals, like Fani, Fani, spelled Fani, Fani, and it's all a big hoax, and it's all run from there, like in Manhattan. One of the top people from the Justice Department went in, ran Manhattan, ran the state. The Letitia James deal was run by a person from the Department of Justice, Biden. They've never done this before, and they set up a very bad precedent. It's called lawfare, warfare. It's a terrible thing, and never happened in our country. It does happen in banana republics and third world countries, but it's never happened. And the incredible thing is it actually drove my numbers up because people see, fortunately I have a platform like you, or, in all fairness, like a conversation like this, where I can talk about it and people understand. I mean, you fight for election integrity and you end up getting indicted because you're fighting for election integrity. And when the day comes that you can't fight for election integrity, you don't have a country.
Imagine he goes, I'm buying True
So
Social.
what happens is they went after their political opponent, me. Now Biden's, close to vegetable stage, in my opinion. Okay, I looked at him today on the beach, and I said, why would anybody allow him? The guy could barely walk. Why would anybody allow him? Does he have a political advisor that thinks this looks good? He thinks this looks good because it looks so bad, and it's ridiculous. I mean. And he's been doing that for a long time. He can't lift the chair. The chair weighs 3 ounces. It's meant for children and old people to lift. And he can't lift it. The whole thing is crazy.
Well, he's clearly not, he's clearly like, we just don't have a president right
You
now.
don't have a president. And she's going to be worse than him because she is a San Francisco liberal who destroyed San Francisco. And then as Attorney General, she destroyed California. You talk about location, and we're talking about the sun and the water and all. There's nothing better than California. She has destroyed that. She was the original DA. She was the original in San Francisco. She was the original Attorney General in California. What she has done to California is, well, you know better than I do. You just left California for a lot of those reasons. And what she's done with crime, with cashless bail, where you kill somebody. I mean, we have states now you kill somebody and they let you out right away. I mean, you don't have to even put up, and then they never find the people unless they kill again, and then they let them out again. Our country is becoming a very dangerous place. And she is a radical left San Francisco liberal. And now she's trying to protect. Now she's looking like she wants to be more Trump than Trump, if that's possible. I don't think it's possible, but she wants to be more Trump than Trump.
Yeah.
I want a wall.
I think that's,
she wants to release all the prisoners that are in detention. And some of these guys are really bad.
Right.
That just came out today. She doesn't want to build the wall, even though the walls work. Walls and wheels. You know, in your business, everything you do is obsolete, almost, well, not the tunnels, but everything is obsolete. Even your rocket ships, they're like a month later, they're obsolete. You find a better way to. The only thing that's not obsolete is a wall and a wheel. And
wow,
the
this
wall,
is crazy.
You know, I built hundreds of miles of wall, and that's why we had such good numbers. I was going to add 200 miles. We bought it. We could have flipped it up in 3 weeks. And they sold it for 5 cents on the dollar. That meant, I said, wow, that means that they actually do want to have open borders. She wants to have
Spread
open
Trump's
borders,
free speech,
and now she's going
aka
like
unhinged and hateful agenda.
It's such a lie.
Yeah, this is simply not true. This is simply not true.
No, and everybody knows it's
simply
not true. It's a disgrace that she can say it.
No, I mean, obviously, what's happening sort of overnight is they're rewriting history and making Kamala sound like a moderate when in fact she is far left, like far left.
Worse than Bernie Sanders. She is considered more liberal by far than Bernie Sanders. She's a radical left lunatic. And if she's going to be our president, very quickly, you're not going to have a country anymore. And she'll go back to all of the things that she believes in. She believes in defunding the police. She believes in no fracking, zero. Now all of a sudden she's saying, no, I really want to see fracking. If they got in, the day she got in, she'll end fracking. And by the way, if people didn't think that, the lunatics that really believe in that, they won't vote for
Dude,
it.
Hassan has the worst takes in the world, dude.
Like the Palestinians.
Holy, that is not.
So anti-Israel. It's bad for both. Biden actually did something that was impossible. Both sides hate him. You know, both sides. That was a hard thing to do. Unification.
Yeah, no. I mean, Netanyahu came to give a talk to a joint Senate and House sitting, and I was there, and Kamala stood him up. You know, what should I say?
I think it's highly disrespectful. And I say, if you're a Jewish person, or if you believe in Israel, if you're a person that is a very pro-Israel, if you vote for her, it's worse than Biden, and Biden was bad. But if you vote for her, you ought to have your head examined. And you see tonight, I mean, as we're doing this, I'm seeing reports coming that they expect an attack tonight or tomorrow from hundreds and maybe thousands of rockets. You know, their Iron Dome, as they call it, as we all call it, but their shield that they build, that can be swamped. We'll use the term that's appropriate, swamped. But they swamp it by shooting enough missiles. You know,
he's not eating; he just has dentures.
Shooting enough missiles, they can't defend themselves. You know, they just obliterate the whole place, and that's what some people think they're looking to do. And we have no leadership. There's no respect for the United States of America.
Picture Trump's hand signs.
And I'm telling you, she'll be worse than him, because she's a believer in being radical left, and he wasn't.
I think you're right. I mean, you really, it's important for the public that may be listening to this to look at Kamala's track record, before the last month, and say, is that a track record you agree with? And I think if you're an independent moderate, you definitely would not agree with it, because her behavior has been far left, and we're seeing just an overnight propaganda attempt to rewrite history.
I love mouthwash, dude.
Moderate when she in fact is not moderate.
Well, her running mate approved, signed into legislation, tampons in boys' bathrooms. Okay, Now, that's all I have
weird.
to hear. Tampons in
That's
boys'
weird.
bathrooms. And that means she believes in that too. I mean, she
that's not
picked
okay.
this guy because he was the closest to her. A lot of people thought she'd pick sort of the opposite, but she picked an anti-Israel radical left person. But she is far worse, they say, than Bernie Sanders. If we have her as a president, if we have a Democrat at this moment as a president, I don't think our country can survive.
I think it's a massive. I think we're in massive trouble, frankly, with the Kamala administration, and that's my honest opinion. And I think really it's essential that you win for the good of the country for this election. And I mean that's understating my opinion. Now you know you may have seen this, but I got a letter from the EU Commission, like saying, to not have disinformation on during this discussion that we're having, and there's a lot of attempts to do censorship and to force censorship even on Americans from other countries, and what do you think about that?
Well, I know the European Union very well. They take great advantage of the United States in trade, as you know. We, through a different forum, NATO, we protect them. And yet, if you build a car in the United States, you can't sell it in Europe. You just can't sell it. It's impossible. The same thing with our farmers. Our farmers find it very difficult to
Trump
do
is
business.
not decisive. It's how he adopted crypto.
With them of $250 billion, which people don't know. It sounds so nice, the European Union, but let me tell you, they're not as tough as China, but they're bad. And I let them know it. And that's probably why they notified you. No, they don't treat our country well. We defend them, with Ukraine. So we're in for 250 billion, and they're in for about 71 billion, and they have the same size. If you add up the European nations that in terms of an economy, it's about the same size. When you say as us, and they're in, and they're in much greater risk. They're right there. We have an ocean separating us from, in this case, the enemy would be Russia. Used to be for the Soviet Union, but let's assume they're close enough. And what happens is they're in for 70-something million. I think even less than that, billion. And we're in for about 250 billion, and it could be a lot higher than that. And I say, why aren't you going to equalize? Why aren't they paying?
Tell me that's not a
what
fire
we're paying?
response.
And they're
literally the perfect response.
Much more important for them because of the fact that they're right near there. I mean, they're all sort of in that location. We're not, but they should. And I did it with NATO. There were only 7 countries that were paid up in NATO, out of 28 at the time. And
how long is this?
I don't know.
The United States was subsidizing NATO.
Just mention crypto and I can get off.
Subsidizing NATO. And I said, I went in and I said, you got to pay up. If you don't pay up, we're not going to defend you any longer. I took a lot of heat, but you know what happened? Billions and billions of dollars came flowing in. And
I think a lot of the public isn't aware of the fact that the United States pays a disproportionate share of the NATO expenses.
And then we get taken advantage of on trade. So think about it.
Yeah, well, I mean, the point of NATO is defending Europe, and it's it's like, then okay, well, why is the United States paying disproportionately more to defend Europe than Europe? That doesn't make sense. That's unfair, and that is an appropriate thing to address.
Well, when you talk about cost cutting and savings and everything else, I mean, honestly, look, there's nobody that feels worse about the Ukraine situation than I do, because I know it would have never happened. I know Zelensky. He was very honorable to me, because when they went with the Russia hoax and they said I had a phone call with him, he said it was a perfect phone call. It was a great phone call. He could have grandstanded and, said, oh, he was very threatening. He said, no, it was a very nice phone call. I called him up to congratulate him on his win, and you end up getting impeached because these people are lunatics. I was talking about the difference from the people within and the enemies on the outside. In many cases, the people from within are more dangerous for our country than the Russians and the Chinas. If you have a smart president, you're not going to have a problem with them. You're going to do things.
Yeah.
Now, they've taken advantage of us incredibly, but you're going to do things with the right person.
Yeah, well, I think it's obvious that you're a believer and an advocate of free speech, because during your first term as president, you were attacked relentlessly every day, often very unfairly with with false attacks, and you didn't try to shut down the media. You didn't try to inhibit their freedom of speech, and I think that says a lot.
Well, the good thing is that you and I have, and some people, very few, we can get the word out. Although sometimes it's hard because they don't want to print it, like we're having a great conversation right now. Kamala wouldn't have this conversation. She can't because she's not smart. She's not a smart person, by the way. She can't have this conversation. And Biden, we don't even have to talk about it. I mean, he couldn't have this conversation. He would have given up.
I want Kamala to
he would have walked
be on a
out.
space.
He
I would
would have
listen
said,
to that.
Where am I? Where am I
We
going?
should like join this space right now.
But no, he wouldn't have this.
That's true.
Not a lot of people would have this conversation, but we cover a lot of territory. But the beauty is that we can have a conversation.
Such a fire response, dude.
Yes,
I'm able to get it out without because
This
I
wins
can
the
think
internet.
This is a really big point. You can actually
Better.
have a conversation with you.
Yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
And you can't have a conversation with Biden or Kamala. It's like it's not possible.
That's
Oh, dude, they're not gonna like that. He just said a name like that.
Talking to an NPC.
No.
So
Well, but think of it.
He's
We
gonna
need
cry about it on Twitter.
or person who's unbelievably sharp in order to stop all the nuclear danger and all the dangers that I'm talking about. And I got along with all these. I got along with Kim Jong-un. We had dinner. We had everything. And
Kelly said, "Pull up Gary's
really
tweet."
liked me, and I got along with him really well. By the way,
Gary who?
he's
Gary
the
Cardone?
absolute boss.
Yeah, I think
A
so.
lot of people said, "Oh,
Yeah, Gary Cardone.
that's for
let
sure.
me tell you, I saw things that you don't want to know about. He is the boss, but we had a good relationship, and he doesn't like Biden. He considers him a stupid man. He said he's a stupid man. Well,
Let me see
at
what.
least he speaks his mind. But in this country, you're not sort of allowed to say it, but I guess you are. You should be allowed to say it if it's true. But we need we
Yeah,
need
it's the one
smart
from 2
people,
hours
and
ago.
we need people that have an ability to
one?
lead. And she doesn't.
No.
Can you
The one
imagine?
with the space picture.
Chairman Xi very well. Can you imagine her and him negotiating, or
No, it's
even
silly. It would be
standing
silly.
together?
Okay.
It is the whole concept is ridiculous. She is terrible. She's terrible, but she's getting a free ride. I saw a picture of her on Time Magazine today. She looks like the most beautiful actress ever to live. It was a drawing, and actually, she looked very much like Melania. She didn't look.
Yeah,
she didn't look
funny.
like Camilla. That's right. But of course, she's a beautiful woman, so we'll leave it at that, right?
Yeah, well, maybe like I think part of what people in America want to, people in America want to feel excited and inspired about the future. They want to feel like the future is going to be better than the past, and that America is going to do things that are greater than we've done in the past, reach new heights that make you proud to be an American, and excited about the future.
They want the American dream back. They want the American dream back. More important than anything else. It's like you don't have that today because the people, they've been just sucked. They see incompetent people running our. The Biden thing is very interesting. People just found him to be incompetent, and when I debated him, I was like, "Is this for real?" It was.
Yeah, it was just absurd. But I think there are like some grand projects that we could do. I mean, I think like we could build a base on the moon. We could send American astronauts to Mars. We could build high-speed connections that are more advanced than anything else in the world between our cities, so people have fast transport. It's possible to solve traffic with tunnels. We've already made great progress in Vegas doing that, and and just do things that are exciting and inspiring and make the future feel like it's better than the past.
Well, I saw what you did in Vegas, and I'll tell you, it was amazing. I got to see. I took a big glimpse at it, and it's incredible. It's incredible, and you could do that all over. It's deep.
Yeah,
you don't even need much structure. Assuming you're in the right area.
No, it's straightforward.
It's amazing.
And I think we could do some things that like China's got incredible high-speed rail between its cities, but I think it's actually possible with tunnels if with deregulation, with an ability to actually where it's like legal to actually do the tunnels. Then you could have high-speed tunnels that are actually better than anything else in the world for high-speed transport between cities, and that would be something that Americans can say, wow, okay, we've got something that's cooler than anyone else in the world. That's the kind of thing that makes you proud to be an American.
And much safer than surface trains where there is a danger there, with crazy people. Much safer, much better. And it's sad because I've seen some of the greatest trains. I find it fascinating. And I've seen the systems and how they work, and the bullet trains, they call them, I guess. And they go unbelievably fast, unbelievably comfortable, with no problems. And we don't have anything like that in this country, not even close. And it doesn't make sense that we don't. Doesn't make sense.
Yeah, and I think also like there's, I'm kind of hopping on the excess regulation, but I think something that I think people can generally understand is that what happens with laws and regulations is that there's more and more of them every year, and unless there's a process to clean them up, eventually everything becomes illegal, and that actually it slows down the development of new technologies. I mean, if you take the sort of like, I think there's room for some reform at the FDA for improving the speed with which we approve drugs that could help save lives and improve people's lives. And
I worked very hard on that. We got that down to the lowest number ever, and we got therapeutics approved in the FDA that people can't even believe the speed. But I took them on. I don't think they like me too much, but I got things approved in the FDA at numbers that they wouldn't believe. And it's a very bureaucratic group. Actually, it's a fine group of people in many cases. I got to know a lot of them, but I was pushing them really hard for Regenerons, for so many different things that were really pretty amazing. But the FDA takes too long. It's 12 years to get a product approved. I got it down to 4, and I got some things done very quickly. But it's really something that is going to have to be worked on because it takes too long. Just takes too long.
Yeah, it just takes too long, and it's you end up in the same with the approval, but it just it takes years instead of something that I think could potentially take months, and that improves people's lives. I think I just wanted to hop on this point that like there has to be an active process for reducing rules and regulations, because otherwise they just keep building up every year, and you get like hardening of the arteries, and eventually everything's illegal or takes forever, and then we just ossify as a society. We can't make any progress, and it's a really big deal.
Elon, just getting back to the FDA for 1 second, I got something done called Right to Try. This is where you can go in, and if you're terminally ill, you can use a space age, medicine or whatever it may be. We have the best doctors, the best labs in the world. We really do. And people would go to other countries because you couldn't use the product, even if they thought it worked, because it's going through the FDA. I got it approved where you can, you basically, look, nobody wanted, the doctors didn't want it because of the liability. The country didn't want it, our country, because they didn't want to get sued. These are people terminally ill. The insurance companies didn't want it, and the pharmaceutical companies, nobody wanted it. I got everybody into a room, and we came up with an agreement that you won't get sued. And also, they didn't want it on their record. If somebody's terminally ill and they die after taking a drug, they didn't want that on their record. We set a separate list if somebody was, so it wouldn't count as a negative. Okay. And as you know, we got it done. We have saved Right to Try. They've been trying to get this done for 58 years, and it sounds simple, but it wasn't, because it's, the insurance companies, nobody wanted it, but we got it done. Somebody you sign a document that you're not going to sue the insurance companies, the country, you're not going to sue anybody. And we got it done, and we're saving tens of thousands of lives. Right to Try. Hopefully you never need it, but if you do, you don't have to travel to Asia. People, if they had money, they go to Asia, they go to Europe. If they don't have money, they go home and die. That's what happened. They'd go home and die.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and actually, to give Europe some props here, it's like if a drug is approved in Europe, which has a crazy amount of regulations, it should obviously be approved in the U.S. Yeah. I mean, they get more regulations than we do. So why would a drug be approved in Europe and not in the U.S.? That's crazy.
Well, we did it. We did something that really, they've been trying to do it for 50 years, and they just couldn't get it done, and I got it done. And it's really something. But you're right. Some people go to Europe because a drug isn't approved here, but it's approved in Europe, and it's a drug that, generally speaking, would work. It's pretty crazy.
Absolutely.
You're right.
And I think so, as long as people are properly informed of the pros and cons and like these are the risks, this is the risk, and like you make your own decision. That makes sense.
Well, I think just, you know, in sort of closing up, and by the way, I'm looking at the numbers. You got a lot of people listening. I hope you don't get nervous because you got a lot of people listening to you right now, like 60 million or something. What is that number? It's crazy. It's amazing how you can see that right away. How many? What is the number? Wow. What is
62.
It?
Well,
wow.
I think in terms of people
that's bigger than you said. You said 25 and you're much more than double that number, 25 million. I think you're going to be 60 or 70. And I guess over a period of time, hey, I congratulate you. Do I get paid for this or not?
Well, I think actually in terms of the number of people that will hear this conversation over the next few days to weeks, it's going to be hundreds.
That's what they say. Yeah, that's good. Well, look, it's an honor. I just asked this: are you better off now, or were you better off when I was president? Nobody's better off now. People, we put out polls on that, and nobody's better off now. Inflation has killed it. And, they also feel very unsafe. You look at what's going on with a lot of different things. You look at the riots we had at the colleges it's ridiculous, but all of the riots, they just feel unsafe. And now they really feel unsafe because you have a new form of crime. It's called migrant crime. I call it Biden migrant crime. Maybe I'll call it Kamala migrant crime. But
with all these things, I always try to get to the ground truth by just asking people. And my mom lives in New York, and I was like, Mom, have any of your friends, been attacked or assaulted? And she said, yeah, 3 of her friends in 3 separate incidents were assaulted just in recent months, just walking around the streets of New York. And I said, well, what happened to the people that assaulted them? Oh, nothing. They got away. And they just know
they always get away.
Nothing's, and they don't even bother reporting it because they know that they're not going to, people are not going to get prosecuted. They just let, violent criminals out in New York.
The only one that gets prosecuted is Donald Trump. They prosecute Trump.
Yeah, it's just obviously messed up.
Oh, it's terrible.
If violent criminals are getting off scot-free, and meanwhile the New York spending massive resources prosecuting you. And it's like, what's this, and I think the sort of sensible public looks at this and said, what the heck's going on here? This is obviously abuse of the legal system. The legal system is supposed to be protecting the public from violent criminals. And it should be obviously allowing the public to make their own decision about who should be president, as opposed to, some, legal case.
Once they start this precedent, because this can go on with the next one. This is a very bad precedent, what they're doing in terms of, going after their political opponent. And that's all it is. It's going after their political opponent. And then you get a judge who's, a strong Democrat. And I'm being nice when I say that, in many cases, crooked as hell. But you get a judge and you go into an area where a Republican gets 3 or 4% of the vote. And, you'll have a jury pool with people that hate Republicans or hate. It could also be the other way, though, because it could start the other way in areas where they hate Democrats. And you get into a Pandora's box. It's a very dangerous thing for this country, and a very dangerous thing even for the state. New York City is losing. New York City and state lose a lot of business over what they did to me, because these people say, we don't want that to happen to us. That's no justice system. You have an unfair system of justice, and it's costing New York State a tremendous amount of money. People are leaving and companies are leaving, and they won't come back. So, all of that stuff is important. But the economy now is the big thing, and we can turn that economy up so fast, and people are going to be back again. We're going to get rid of inflation.
I think there's a lot of opportunity.
Right.
Absolutely. So.
And I just want to congratulate you. You've done an amazing job. You have definitely got a fertile mind. We can talk. You and I can talk about rockets.
Well, it's kind of you to say. Thank you.
Tunnels. We can talk about tunnels and rockets and electric cars. So many things. And now you're into the AI, and that's going to be another beauty, I'll say. So it's an amazing thing you've done, Elon. It's an amazing thing, and I congratulate you.
Thank you. And I just say here, here's to an exciting, inspiring future that people can look forward to and be optimistic and excited about what happens next. And that's the kind of future that I think you will bring as president, and that's why I endorse you.
Well, I appreciate that. That endorsement meant a lot to me. Not all endorsements mean that much, to be honest. Your endorsement meant a lot. And, we have a phrase, make America great again. It's pretty simple, but it really says that we want to make America great again. And we can do it. We can do it now. But if we were going to suffer another 4 years like we suffered for the last 4 years, I'm not sure the country can ever come back. That's how bad it is. It's so bad. We have to do a lot of things.
I think that's a very real risk.
Yeah, it's a big risk.
It's a very real risk.
Yep.
And it's, I'd just like to note to people listening, like I've not been very political before. And if you look at my record, I've actually been, I'm not like, some they try to paint me as like a far right guy, which is absurd because I'm like making electric vehicles and.
Are you kidding me?
You just kick us off?
Yeah. Let me reload it. I think they just got DDoSed again.
Yeah.
Let me reload it. It's broken. Hold up, chat.
We just crashed.
I think their entire space is chat. What?
I mean, socials is
Why
up.
not? No, okay, I don't know what that was.
We were just going to see it.
Okay, we're back, chat.
An even further left administration with
what you
Kamala,
disappointed in,
that's my
Seth?
opinion. I mean, her dad is literally. I mean, she was brought up as an actual. Her dad is a Marxist economist. You can Google it. I mean, it's not a. We're not making this up. That's how she was brought up. So. And we want to have a future that is prosperous, and I think we're just at this critical juncture, and I think this is
be
a
nice
case
in chat. You guys all hold crypto.
America is going to at a fork in the road, and
true.
And I think it will take.
Oh, he's trolling.
The path, like you are the path to prosperity, and I think Kamala is the opposite. Then that's my honest opinion. I'm gonna get attacked like crazy, and. I've also experienced quite a bit of lawfare myself, but I'm just trying to tell people my honest opinion, and I haven't been really active in politics before, and I'm just trying to point out that my track record historically has been moderate, if not moderate, slightly left, and so this is to people out there who are in the moderate camp to say I think you should support Donald Trump for president. And I think it's actually a very important junction in the road, and we're in deep trouble if it goes the other way.
Well, I want to thank you, and I actually always did think of you as somewhat left. I must say that. So it's
Yeah.
even more of an honor to have your endorsement. I know how strong you feel about it, but when you think of her, San Francisco, 15 years ago, I had a great friend, Bob Tish. He said it's the greatest city in America, and now it's almost not livable there. And California likewise. And she was involved in the destruction of San Francisco and the destruction of California. And she will be involved in the destruction of our country if people are so unwise as to elect her. And I hope that doesn't happen. And I hope the elections are going to be run honestly. And we're going to turn this country around. We're going to do things and we can do it fairly quickly. And we have to get rid of the criminals that have been, given to us by other countries as they laugh. They laugh at us. They think we're stupid to accept these people. These are radical, stone cold killers in many cases and terrorists. And they're in our country by the hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
And we have to take them out.
Yeah. I mean, if I could summarize it, perhaps, I think these are issues that I think most people in America would agree with, which is that we want safe and clean cities. We want secure borders. We want sensible government spending. We want to restore both the perception and reality of respect in the judicial system. Just stop the lawfare, and I think that's like. And how are those even right-wing positions? I think those are that's just common sense, and that's. I mean, would you agree with that?
100%. I don't understand, the whole, they call it progressive. They don't like the word liberal anymore, but call it liberal or progressive. I don't understand how somebody could say that it's okay for them to empty prisons into our country. And again, I told you their crime rates all over the world are going way down, which makes sense. In fact, the next time what we'll do is if something happens with this election, which would be a horror show, we'll meet the next time in Venezuela because it'll be a far safer place to meet than our country. Okay, so we'll go, you and I will go and we'll have a meeting and dinner in Venezuela because that's what's happening. Their crime rates coming down and our crime rates going through the roof. And it's so simple. And you haven't seen anything yet because these people have come into our country and they're just getting acclimated. And they don't know about being politically correct law enforcement or lack of law enforcement. And our police, I have to just end with this. We have great police. We have great law enforcement, but they're not allowed to do their job. They have to be able to do their job without being destroyed.
Well, absolutely. And it's obviously demoralizing if you're a police officer risking your life to arrest violent criminals who could kill you and do kill you sometimes. And then you arrest the violent criminal and then the DA, doesn't prosecute and they just let the guy out. Yeah. Well, then why should a police officer risk their life to arrest a violent felon?
Well, even worse, Elon,
if nothing's going to happen.
Even worse, they prosecute the police officer.
I saw that too. I was like, who the hell made that?
They take away his pension. They take away his job. He loses his family. He loses his house.
Later, Deucey.
Well, I thought it was very telling, like incredibly telling, that when there was that case where sort of a gang of thugs beat up police officers. I think it was in Times Square in New York, and then nothing happened to those guys. They were let out, zero bail, and I think a bunch of them were given free tickets to California. Well, what is I mean, that is a gross indignity against the United States, and that's how. I mean, this is insane. Like, have we lost all pride? How can such a thing be allowed to occur?
I've never seen anything. We see where they get shot. It's a very dangerous profession, but it's something they're very proud of, and they want to be able to do their job. But I've seen them get shot. I've seen a lot of things, but I've never seen where these guys are standing in the middle of a big street, everybody watching them, and they're literally boxing, like punching, stand-up fighting a police officer. There were two of them. And you had about six of these guys, and they're punching the hell out of them. And in their own country, they would be dead if they did that. They'd be shot.
Yes.
They would be shot instantly. And, they come from these countries, and it's taking them a while to realize that we don't do that in this country. But in their own country, if they stood on a street and had a fight with a police officer, they would be shot. There's no political correctness. And it's such a sad, it's such a sad thing to see. And that's the reason you have crime, by the way, because we don't do anything about it.
Yeah, we just cannot have a situation where our police officers are beaten up on camera by a gang of illegal immigrants, and then nothing happens to the guys that beat up the cops. I mean, and they're let out. This is unacceptable.
Well, we're going to change it, and we're going to get them out of the country. When I first got involved, they said you couldn't get them back to these countries. You couldn't take them back. In the case of Guatemala, Honduras, El Salvador, some others, you couldn't get them back. And I said, really? Oh, you can't get them back? Because under Obama, he couldn't get them back. They'd fly them in, and they'd put planes on the runways in these countries so you couldn't land a plane. They'd bring them back. And the generals told me, sir, we can't bring them back. The countries won't accept MS-13 gang members. They won't accept them. And I said, really, how much do we pay these various countries in terms of economic aid, which is also somewhat ridiculous? And the answer was $750 million. I said, good. Tell them they're in default. They're delinquent. We're not paying them anymore because they won't accept it. And you know what happened? They all called me, every one of them. They said, we would be honored to take them back, sir. We would be honored. It was so easy. But it's one of those things. And we got them back. We took in so many, the MS-13 is probably the worst gangs in the world. They're the most vicious, violent. We took them out of here by the thousands and got them out of here. And their countries took them back. And because I said, you're not getting any more economic aid. And once I said that, they were nice. They wouldn't take them back for Obama. They wouldn't take them back for anybody. And now we have a problem because we have this guy, and they don't take him back anymore with Biden because they don't respect him.
Yeah. It's just gotta be done. We just can't have whether they're citizens or not citizens. We can't have, because they won't prosecute citizens either, not just illegals. So if it's you can't have violent, repeat violent offenders that are not that don't get incarcerated.
That's right.
Because they will obviously, by definition, continue to hurt people. And I think where part of this comes from.
Hey
is
guys,
that
if you're still
there's,
here, make sure you hit that like button,
and I do
retweet.
sort of
Appreciate you
consider myself
guys.
liberal in
It
some
is
ways. I mean,
late.
it's just that you want to have empathy.
I'll definitely have DZ
for
run the
people.
morning show.
Obviously, you want to have empathy for people. I totally agree with that. You want to have empathy, but you also have to have empathy for the victims of the criminals. And if you just have empathy for the criminals, it's actually shallow empathy. It's not real. You're not thinking. You have one layer deep empathy. You got to say, like, what if you don't incarcerate this person? Who are they going to hurt? Who are they might kill someone. They might rape someone. If you don't incarcerate them, you have to have empathy for the victims. And there's a lack of empathy for the victims of the criminals, and too much empathy for the criminals. It doesn't make sense. That's why you want to have deep empathy for society as a whole, not shallow empathy for criminals.
Right. And we have to give our police officers the dignity and the respect that they deserve. And we have to let them do their job. They can do a great job, but we have to let them do their job. And if we don't do that, it's going to all disappear. There's never been a society like this where you're allowed to do anything you want and nothing happens. And I'm talking about violent crime. And it's going to get more violent because these are really, really violent people. And we're going to get them out of our country, and we're going to get them back to because they were sent here by the president and by the various people that run those countries. And I know every one of those guys. And they're smart people, and they're streetwise people. And they really think that the USA is stupid. They think we're run by stupid people, and they happen to be right. But when I was there, we had no problem. We got them out. We took out thousands of MS-13 gang members. We brought them back. And now, again, it's the same old story. We don't do it. And they actually gave them a big increase in aid. They raised it up to billions of dollars, and they get nothing for it. So, I hope everybody's going to vote for Trump, and we're going to get this country straight. Yeah. And I didn't need this. I didn't need this. I had a very nice life. I didn't need to go through court systems and go through all the other stuff and run at the same time. I have to run. I have to go through fake trials with, in some cases, corrupt judges, totally corrupt judges. I didn't need it. I had a nice life. I have great locations. I have beautiful oceans that I have places. But I felt it was important. And if I had to do it over again, you probably think I'm crazy for doing it, actually. But if I had to do it over again, I would have done it over again, because this is so much more important than me or my life. We're going to save this country. This country is going down. And these people are bad people that we're running against, and they're liars. They make statements. They do things that are so bad. They say they're going to make a strong border. They say they've been great on the border, and they've been the worst in history. They say they're going to stop crime.
Like, the facts speak for themselves.
It's so incredible.
Speak for themselves. Like it's got to the point where people just don't even bother reporting crime in a lot of cities because they know nothing is going to happen. That's what I hear anecdotally from people all the time. So it's just my values. I'm just saying to people out there, like the things I think are important for the future is like we've got to have safe cities, we've got to have secure borders, we've got to have sensible spending, and we've got to have deregulation, and so we can have a prosperous future. And then we want to have some exciting, sort of moonshot projects that people can get fired up about, and that's the future I'm looking for. And I'm pro environment, but I'm not against. I'm not like I don't think we should vilify the oil and gas industry because they're keeping civilization going right now, and but I do think we want to move a reasonable speed towards a sustainable energy economy. Those are my values, and
you're just picturing his leg swinging.
And so I mean that's why I'm supporting you for president.
Well, I appreciate it. We're going to give incentive to companies to come into our country, not to leave our country. We're going to be giving tremendous incentives. We want companies to build here, not to build in other locations. And we want to create jobs. And again, it's about the American dream. You don't hear about the American dream anymore, Elon. You're the American dream in the truest sense, but you don't hear about the American dream anymore. And you're going to hear about it. people, they need that incentive to go out and
Yeah.
do it. And they're going to love their lives. I mean, they're going to look forward to getting up in the morning and going to a job that they love, not a job that they can't stand, or not any job at all, where they have no money, where they literally have no money. And then they end up with violence and lots of other problems. No, we're going to do some great things. And I learned a lot in the first. We had a great economy and all of that. We rebuilt the military. We did so much. But I also learned the best people. I learned the good people, the smart people, the dumb people, the people that can do things, the people, you learn. When I first came in, I tell people I was in Washington, D.C. only 17 times, according to the fake news media. I was in 17 times. I never stayed over. And you don't know people. You rely on other people to give you names, and then you realize the people you relied on weren't so good. Now, we had great people, but we also had some where I wouldn't have, used them had I known. Now I know everybody. And I think we're going to really turn things around fast. We have no choice. Otherwise, we're not going to have a country. And I really appreciate this. To me, it's been a lot of fun being with you. You're an amazing guy. You've done an incredible job and a great inspiration to people, a great inspiration. And I hope you keep going and just continue to do well. And we're going to have a big election coming up. And I think November 5th will be the most important day in the history of our country. I think that election will be the most important election. And I think it'll end up being maybe the most important day in the history of our country, because if we don't win, I just feel so sorry for everybody.
No, I think we're at a fork in the road of destiny of civilization, and I think we need to take the right path, and I think you're the right path. So I think that's what it comes down to.
Thank you very much, Elon. It's a great honor, and we'll do it again sometime. And it's been really fun, and I hope you got a lot of viewers. I hear you got a lot, but I hope you got a lot. I know you got a lot of them. So I appreciate it. I'll see you soon.
All right, sounds good. Thank you.
Thank you, Elon. Thank you very much. Bye.
Woo! And we've made it, chat, to the very end of this. No crypto was said, but it's okay.
Okay. My God, let's do it is time to break this down.
Oh yeah.
Let me see. Let's just do that one. Yeah, man. So I mean, I think we'll do first thoughts. We're gonna take some questions from the comments here, guys. That was aggressively long, so I do apologize. We did think it was gonna be a live, actual sit-down interview, not necessarily just do via Twitter Spaces. But you guys did, no matter what. Let's just start off with the non-political part of this, which is you guys just all sat through a historical moment where we just listened to a fireside chat, essentially a phone call with two very powerful people. Which is really unprecedented. I mean, it was not scripted. They just had a normal open conversation.
Yeah.
And that was absolutely insane to hear from. Now, I do want to take some questions from, chat here. We got obviously both sides of the party in here in the political spectrum. I want to be respectful to both sides here. So, I mean, to start off here, guys, let me know in the chat. Like, I just want to know, are you guys voting for Trump or are you voting for Kamala? Because I'm very curious to see. Right now, our poll looks like we're at 102. Obviously, I have a biased poll here, though, because obviously most of I don't know. It's an interesting audience here. But, I mean, biggest takeaways. The biggest takeaway was the inflation talk. That was my biggest selling points. It's been my biggest selling point. He is pro-immigration. There's no world where some people believe he's some anti-immigrant. He's not. He's pro-immigration, just pro-legal immigration. Which of course is going to defend things like Social Security and Medicaid, and obviously the taxpayer social programs that are funded by U.S. citizens in the United States. But number two is going to be definitely the Inflation Reduction Act, talking about him shutting down the Keystone Pipeline or XL under the Biden administration for them to eliminate a lot of those energy initiatives in the first 2 years of the presidency before 180 back to a lot of those policies because inflation was running so strong and personal savings rates, which right now, guys, there's not this use Federal Reserve economic data. This is Fred. It should be your best friend. You're going to see a lot of people on TikTok. I watched a guy today literally break down like 9 different things. He's like, stock market's at all-time highs and all that matters. None of it fucking matters except, there's my one cuss word, the personal savings rate of average Americans in the United States, which you can go back to. I mean, look at this. If you want to argue about, administrations, Obama crushed it. you know, if you want to talk about personal savings rates, you know, personal savings rates is what's really going to matter most. If you just look at this, it was at a 7.2 on average during the Trump administration. If you even through COVID, Biden administration has obliterated that, and that's because energy hasn't gone down. Inflation hasn't gone down. We've had disinflation, not deflation, and Americans are struggling to save money because they have to pay more for their goods and their utilities out there, their goods and services. And that's a fact. That's in front. Oh, I'm not even looking at the screen here. Let me show you guys on the screen here. There you go. There is your personal savings rate in America. That's my favorite metric to look at. So, you know, a lot of people want to say, oh, well, Biden didn't cause inflation. It was because of the excessive money printing. Yes, money printing causes inflation, but there's a lot more than just the money printing that is involved in it. The money printing, of course, happened due to the COVID-19 pandemic, but the majority of the inflation actually came from, you know, the cost of energy skyrocketing, especially with the Nord Stream pipeline blowing up in the middle of Germany. That's why when you look at inflation globally, inflation went up globally during 2020 and 2021 and 2022, because everybody's cost of energy went up through the roof, especially once that pipeline blew up and we turned down the Keystone. So more energy is good. That is just facts. That is just non-disputable. But yes, inflation and money printing, he did cause inflation, but people really need to address the context of the situation and the events that led up to the inflation. That's not just the money printing. It was not just the money printing.
Yeah.
I really appreciate you guys running this live. Much love. Yo, Adam Bomb, Betty, absolutely love and appreciate you. Again, guys, we welcome both people here. What's up with the clickbait? Well, I only had one option, and I went with the clickbait because we thought it was going to be a different type of style video and interview, but obviously we were here at 8 o'clock, so everybody was in bed already, and I had the team here for the live stream, not the thumbnail design, so it is what it is at this point.
You gotta do what you gotta do.
You know, we've been live for like 3 hours. Make up nicknames for them so live doesn't get cut. We should be fine as long as we keep to the facts. I'm not going to talk about any things that are misguided. Like, I'm going to only use information that's relevantly presented in front of you. I promise to be as not partisan as possible here. But I am voting for Trump. But I welcome anybody that is voting for Kamala to be in our chat and engage with us and tell me why I'm wrong. I'm happy to have those conversations, and we'll be doing that a lot in open debates here coming up this week. No way I'm voting for open borders, massive tax increases, continued massive inflation, World War III, woke agenda. Well, one fact which I got to address is someone that's even voting for Trump is our taxes really haven't changed because all of Trump's era tax cuts go through till 2025. So still have those until January. 2016, he was down in the polls. This he didn't talk about aliens. No, didn't talk about aliens. Didn't talk about the UK too much. Didn't talk about crypto, which makes sense. I mean, those are not the primary agendas. Excuse me. Break what down? Let me get Isaac's thoughts. Isaac, what were your thoughts
about this whole debate? I mean, I thought there was going to be at least a little bit of crypto in there, but again, it wasn't really what this interview was about. It was more on policy and world economics and what's going on and what Trump's going to be doing to change and help out and rebuild the economy that is continuing to fall. And when it comes to politics, it's always great to keep an open mind to both sides, because when you're not open to conversations like this, it leads for more diversity and it leads for more hate to come across from each party. But overall, even though it did drag on for a long time, I did enjoy listening to everything that both Trump and Elon had to say.
Yeah, I agree. And guys, if you haven't already, make sure you follow Isaac. He has been working with us for a while, been learning the ropes of crypto and politics and everything. He's been doing content. He's a great editor, helps me a lot on my channels. He's been just super progressive. So he's getting into content now. So if you guys want to support him on his content journey, he just went viral for the first time on TikTok.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, it's been a great time having you a part of the Discover team, man. Glad to have you here.
Yeah, thank you, bro. It's been a blessing for real.
Trump president. We'll go on for a little bit longer and then we'll close out of here. I know you're trying to get out of here too. Reality is we need both parties support. Yeah. So that's all if you guys want to know who I am and why Joshua Jake is the way I am and why I talk, like, I know a lot of you don't want to have the political discussion, But the reality of the situation is the left is very aggressively against crypto, and you can't. They're also aggressively against TikTok, even though they're using TikTok to campaign. You know, so despite the congressional spending issues, which that's one of my biggest focal points, the energy focal points, you know, the immigration, there's a lot more. Like there's like 10 different reasons why I'm choosing what I'm doing in this upcoming election. You know, I'm not really concerned with the social issues. I think a lot of those should be developed and left up to the states. So, you know, that's kind of where I stand here. But Elizabeth Warren will not support crypto. They won't. The left agenda will not support crypto. Kamala Harris was supposed to show up to her Crypto for Harris call-in. She didn't even make the time to do that, and it was a Zoom call. So, and then she wants to make Wally Adeyemo, I believe is how you pronounce his last name, the United States Treasury Secretary. He's somebody who has written against digital assets and scrutinized crypto as a national security threat, and has advocated for the need of a very tight and much needed crypto regulation. So it's the cabinet members, it's the executive branch decisions on who they're going to state into, or who they're going to nominate into positions of power as commissioners, whether it's through the CFTC, the SEC, Supreme Court justices. The Biden administration is purposefully inciting or proposing an 18-year term on Supreme Court justices, which I actually do agree with. However, the reality of the situation is they're purposely doing 18 months because it specifically kicks out 2 conservative judges. Right now, there's a 6-3 ratio. However, I believe there should always be a balance. I don't like the Supreme Court justice having an unlimited term. I also don't like that the Congress has unlimited terms. I mean, your politicians that were in there in the 70s are essentially still in their positions today.
Yeah.
You know, there's a lot of things I have issues, but those are the stuff we can't fix right now because of gerrymandering and a lot of laws that have already been affected. So, you know, would love to actually get us to have those conversations, the future, but those aren't priorities, obviously, of the normal audience. Like a lot of people want to like abortion. It's a non-voting issue. It's already a state right issue. Abortion under Harris isn't going to change whatsoever. It's going to remain the same as it is today. There's no Project 2025. It's simply going to be a state-based issue. And if you guys know how the executive branch works, you guys got to remember, legislative, but there's 3 branches of the government. You have the judicial, the executive, and the legislative. And so Kamala running on this, my body, my choice type stuff. I'm not saying women's rights don't matter. It's not the conversation here. It's can she actually do what she's campaigning on? And that is a false. You can't change that status quo unless she can somehow convince 9 Republicans to not speak up and filibuster the congressional hearing at this, or the Senate hearing. And then by some miracle, if she even gets through that, she can't, there's not enough Supreme Court justices to overturn the decisions on Dodd-Frank from Roe v. Wade.
Yeah, and real quick, speaking back on Project 2025, correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't believe that Trump is supporting that. I thought he was supporting Agenda 47, even though it's a subscript of Project 2025. Is that correct?
Yeah, so it's a lot of, you're 100% correct. I don't know if we could speak. I'm going to refrain from speaking on why, but essentially, it's been heavily miscalculated by certain advertisers, I guess is what I can say.
Yeah.
Both of those are non-issues, and the head of the Heritage Foundation, which was behind it originally, actually stepped down from his position not too recently as well.
Yeah.
So it's a state issue. I really appreciate your content. Appreciate you guys. All right, let me take the last few questions here. It's not about crypto, but Trump should not get to the White House. It's not about crypto, but I completely disagree. Crypto, to me, it's like if Trump doesn't get in there, crypto's dead in America. You're not going to have an alt season. It's going to get pushed out to Russia. It's going to incentivize. So if let me put it this way, if Trump doesn't get elected, Bitcoin will be forever looked at as a national security threat because Russia, who has legalized Bitcoin miners, has a very low cost of energy production, one of the cheapest in the entire world, and they have one of the most prosperous mineral locations, I guess you'd say, on the planet. They have an endless stream of oil and low cost energy. So let's say you're right, Crypto. Well, this is what happens. Okay, I'm just playing the 2 scenarios. You have a pro crypto candidate, which I don't even need to talk about this. Let's just talk about Kamala. Okay. Kamala, let's say she gets elected, which she has a high chance of winning this presidency. I'm not putting down that she does have a chance here. She's got some momentum. You're looking at policies that tax Bitcoin miners that she has backed. She has backed Bitcoin, anti-Bitcoin mining legislation. She has advocated for, more crypto regulation, at least her inner circles. These same inner circles, again, advocate for, regulating the on and off ramps in here and focusing on a digital identity that would more likely revolve around a central bank digital currency in the future. They want to do this because they want to keep the value of the world reserve currency. Russia sees this. Why? Because when the United States doesn't like something that another country is doing, is they do something called implementing sanctions. These sanctions are tariffs, but sanctions, we're going to talk about sanctions, essentially stop businesses and countries from doing any business with the United States. It eliminates them from things like SWIFT and global payment providers and systems that would bring tons of GDP and growth to those economies. So they shut off that value to these different countries, which is usually threatening, and it will stop the countries from not doing something that they said they were going to, or stop the countries from doing something they said that they were going to do. They've done this with Ukraine. Over 4,000 businesses in Russia have had sanctions implemented on them. Now, what you would think is that would hurt Russia, right? That should hurt Russia. These economic sanctions should stop Russia from, obviously doing what they've been doing. Well, if we zoom out, right? If we zoom out, I'm just using facts here. Facts don't care about feelings, chat. Well, this was when the sanctions were implemented, when they invaded Ukraine, pumped massively, sanctions implemented, crashed to the face of the earth. Everyone thought Russia's economy was going to crash and burn. Even today, Russia is now, this is the last 2 weeks, Russia's ruble has been pumping. Why? Because they announced they're going to legalize Bitcoin mining in Russia. This is going to allow them to bypass sanctions that the United States has restricted them on. Now, at first, you might say, oh, this is going to have no immediate impact on Bitcoin's price. They're going to do a little bit amount of trade. Well, what happens when Iran and China and North Korea and Syria and Iraq and Iran, all these different countries that have economic sanctions on them start to realize they can do business with a foreign country that has sanctions on them by just simply utilizing Bitcoin? It's going to incentivize them to utilize Bitcoin. Right? Do you guys see what happens here? Now, all of a sudden, you have all the national security concerns flooding over to Bitcoin because we have pushed outside of the United States. We do not have cheap energy in the US, forcing that crypto to these other countries. You can't stop Bitcoin. It's decentralized geographically. So you want whoever whether you think that's Russia, that's China, that's Europe, that's the United States, you're going to want that to have the majority of miners stationed in the best country that's going to have the best regulation, the lowest cost of energy, and of course, the best on-ramps and off-ramps, setups possible for retail acquisition. Do you think that's Russia? Do you think that's China? Well, again, long term, I guess it doesn't matter. It's bullish for Bitcoin either way. But for me, I want entrepreneurship and crypto growth to prosper in the United States. I would much rather have us have regulations and legislation that is, positive. So that's my stance. That's my vision. I guess it's all hypothetical, but the reality is that's what's happening. They're going to become one of the largest miners. They're going to bypass, they're going to sidestep all of United States regulations, and that's going to force Elizabeth Warren and all these, these people that have been screaming anti-crypto for 4 years. It's going to allow them to establish laws and regulation that limit our access, that limits your rights to self-custody, limits 100%. Your rights to DeFi. And I'm not okay with that. I'm just not okay with that. So anyways, I hope that was a good little rant there.
That was great.
But that's what I got for you guys. So Isaac, any parting words here before we close down? It's 11:04 p.m.
It is 11:04. To the people who are still watching, thank you for tuning in and listening to this entirety of this almost 3 hours and 20-minute live stream that we got going on over here. I appreciate every single one of y'all. Make sure to tune in tomorrow to Discover Crypto, Blockchain Basement, what's it called? BitLab Academy, all of the above. So thank y'all for being here. Make sure y'all have a great night. Rest up. Stay based.
Me harder, Daddy. All right, love you guys. Appreciate you guys. Hit that like button on the way out. There's 400 of you. Let's hit those likes, guys. All 400 of you. Appreciate you guys. We'll see you tomorrow.